This is Whataburger Friday Night Stars, presented by Game On Sports, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, and the Dallas Cowboys headquarters. Here's Kyle Yeomans, Zach Wolchuk, Eric Chiafalo, and Hek'ma Harrison.
Week 9 of Texas high school football is finally upon us. It's the final time Texas high school football is going to be played in October, and then we get to the chilly time of November. Along the way, in October 26th, it's a big weekend for high school football around North Texas and the entire state of Texas as we get into playoff positioning. These districts are going to be decided in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to run down every single game you need to know in the North Texas area. We are Whataburger Friday Night Stars, back again here from the Star in Frisco, Texas. I'm Kyle Yeomans alongside the outstanding trio of Hek'ma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, and Eric Chiafalo. Thank you for joining us here, whether you're watching on YouTube or on Vimeo. Guys, are you set for week 9 of high school football?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be, man. This is big time right here.
Yeah.
We got a lot of big games, rivalry games, like you said, districts on the line, playoffs on the line.
Finally got some nice weather.
Yes. It's a beautiful night.
How about that?
It's
No rain?
I thought you said called for rain last week.
I thought hey, that's what the meteorologist said, but
Can you say
not
it
so
again
much.
this week so that way next week we have weather like
I
they
will.
have outside?
I will. There should be rain next week, guys.
Good.
Okay,
Good.
So
There we
don't
go.
get
That's
used
what I
to
like
it.
that
hear.
means it'll be beautiful and sunny and clear.
Absolutely. Playoff implications. That's the word we're going to be using tonight, right?
That is correct.
That's huge, and we'll go run around all of those different games throughout the entire area whenever we get to that point. But there are really a lot of games looking forward to, and like Zach, you mentioned just a little bit earlier, rivalry games are playing a huge factor in some of these today, and we'll go through those a little bit. But what is one that you're really excited about?
I think Flower Mound Marcus is going to be a great one, the Battle of the Mound there. And then I know, Hek'ma, you're really excited about Grapevine Colleyville Heritage.
Yes, sir. Battle of the Red Rail. It is one that last year was hot. I'll just use that word.
And
hot.
look, those are
and they played in November. It was hot.
and it was hot.
Yeah,
Steamy.
Heated matchup. Yes, sir.
What about you, Eric?
Yeah, no, both of those games. I mean, I'm really excited for both of them. Obviously, playoff implications. Anytime you get the crosstown rivals, like with the Battle of the Mound, and then obviously, the Red Rail, this is going to be good stuff. And they're good teams. You know, some years you run into this and one of the teams isn't that good. All 4 of these teams are good teams. These should be 2 great games tonight.
Yeah, Flower Mound Marcus, Flower Mound. What's the official name of that game?
Battle of the Mound.
Battle of the Mound. Okay, I like that.
Actual mound. I mean, they've got
They
a
fight
designated
over the
mound.
actual mound.
Oh, yeah.
It's just dirt.
That's awesome.
But they love it.
But they love it.
Why
They
not?
do.
You got to do what you got to do. And then, of course, the battle for Red Rail. We'll talk about that in depth coming up here in just a little bit. But, guys, let's get to it a little bit. Going first with some of the smaller guys, 7 4As. We're going to start things off. Argyle and Melissa. These are 2 teams that coming into this, Argyle undefeated at 7-0. Melissa's at 5-2. But Melissa coming off of a big win last week over Salina. Now you look at what they have to deal with at home. Should they be able to take care of things against Argyle here?
Yeah, and these are 2 of the top 3 teams in 4A. So, we can say, yes, 4A, a lower classification, but these teams play big, man. Argyle is looking for their 10th straight district championship.
Wow.
And if they're able to take care of business tonight on the road at Melissa, another team, as you mentioned, Kyle, you see they're 5-2. They've got an outstanding offense, but Argyle, I think this is probably their toughest test remaining this year. They come in, explosive offense led by Bo Hogaboom. He's got 22 touchdowns on the year. Good rushing attack with Tito Bice. He's got 13 touchdowns. And the big thing for them is they've got a really good senior-laden group up front that's carrying the load. And you get into later in the season now, playoffs, cold weather football, you want your offensive line to dictate and dominate games. Argyle has that in their favor. But on the other side for the Cardinals and Melissa, quarterback Brendan Lewis, a TCU commit, outstanding player, 19 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions this year. And they've got a pair of backs, one of them already over 1,000 yards. That's Jabray Young. He's 7 yards shy of 1,000, should eclipse that mark tonight. So 2 good offenses, 2 of the best teams in 4A. I'm excited for that one to play out.
I'm glad you mentioned Brandon Lewis. You already talked about the touchdown to interception ratio, but how about the fact that he can run the football as well?
Dual
Over
threat.
6 yards per carry. He's over 600 yards on the ground, which gives him 2,000 total yards heading into week 9 of the high school football
That's balling.
season.
Yeah,
that
he's-
is balling.
He's
also
one of the most underrated players, I think, probably in the area.
I think so too, and there's a reason why he's committed to TCU at the 4A level, going up to TCU. I mean, there's a reason why he's getting those kinds of looks, but that's going to be a game that we'll keep in touch with. Sticking with some of the smaller schools, how about Bishop Lynch and Bishop Dunn? This is a matchup between two teams that we looked at earlier in the season. Both have since lost a couple games since then and are trying to get back on track here.
Yeah, they call it the Battle of the Bishops. And look, on paper, Bishop Lynch looks like they're a formidable opponent, but you know that all of the athletes are on the Dunn side. In order for Bishop Lynch to have any type of success, it's going to all be on Charles Crawford. He's going to have a big game for Lynch. However, everybody knows that all of the studs are on the defensive side for Dunn. Brian Baby Williams. These guys are, I mean, literally, the whole defense, you could just pick one of these guys. They're all going to be defensive D1 prospects. But again, Bishop Dunn is in the driver's seat in that division. But again, pulling out that victory versus Parish Episcopal a couple weeks ago, very huge for them. They're just wanting to keep pace so that they can win that district.
Yeah, definitely so. And one of the unique things about Bishop Dunn is the fact that they use a trio of quarterbacks. Yelverton, Evans, and Culberson have all seen significant playing time, so we'll see which one really is there and healthy and ready to go against a tough matchup in Bishop Lynch, a team that, like you talked about, Parish Episcopal took down last week to give them their third loss of the season. This next one I'm really excited about as we head back up to the 6A level, starting with 7-6A, Cedar Hill and South Grand Prairie. Can the Longhorns repeat what they did last week against Mansfield? Lake Ridge blew them out of the water.
Absolutely, and it's really what they've been doing all year. Besides the one slip up they had in the torrential downpour nastiness, I think Shane Lawrence might have been banged up in that game. The fumbles in that game, there was like record-setting amount of fumbles. I think there was over 10 in that game. That I'm just chalking up to, hey, that's an anomaly. That's not going to happen anymore. Cedar Hill is a heck of a football team, and obviously, like you mentioned, coming off that nice blowout victory of Lake Ridge, and Lake Ridge is a good team. Cedar Hill, we know about him offensively with Shane Lawrence at quarterback. And again, he's been banged up a little bit this year, but he's still putting up the numbers. The dude's a stud. 820 yards passing, 60% completion percentage, 9 touchdowns through the air, 4 picks. The dude's been playing well, and 150 yards rushing, but his guy is Zachary Franklin. This dude, only 12 catches for 398 yards and 7 touchdowns. This dude averages 33 yards per catch.
Wow.
Which is wild. And I mean, to have 12 catches and 400 yards receiving is really, really impressive. And they were a three-headed monster because they got the running back Darian Triche at running back, 74 carries, almost 500 yards, 9 TDs. He's at 6 yards a carry. So they're a tough team to stop. Again, the only team to do it was Summit, and the torrential downpours really had a lot to do with that. So South Grand Prairie coming in here, listen, they started at 1-3, now they're 4-3. So they've won 3 games in a row, feeling good. They ran for 255 yards last week. They're going to need to do that again today. I don't think their quarterback Drake Logan can do enough through the air. They only average 20 points a game. So they're going to need to get a lot of turnovers. Their defense is good, and they're really, really fast. They're going to have to get some turnovers, and they're going to have to run the ball today. Cedar Hill's probably going to put it on them pretty good.
And you want to talk about a district that still has a lot of scores to settle. 7-6A is where you want to look.
And it is living up to its name.
Yeah, Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Lake Ridge, Summit, South Grand Prairie, all tied at 3-1 apiece, and they've all been beating up on each other. So that's a district where a lot of things can happen over the next couple of weeks.
And this was a tough 3-game stretch for South Grand Prairie starting last week, because last week they had to go against Lake Ridge, and then Cedar Hill this week, and then next week DeSoto. So that's a 3 weeks in a row for South Grand Prairie. And they did well last week. Can they do it one more time in the next 2 weeks? I don't see it happening tonight against Cedar Hill.
Well, how about Flower Mound and Flower Mound Marcus? We alluded to this a little bit earlier. This is a game, the battle for the mound is correct, right?
The Mound Showdown.
Mound Showdown. Oh, that's even better. Oh, that makes me excited for that. But how about Flower Mound, a team that hasn't made the playoffs since 2010, leading that district, and now they get a chance to really solidify things with a win over their arch rival.
My, what a difference a year makes, guys. Blake Short is probably one of the many quarterbacks that we have in DFW that's playing lights out. This kid is balling without a budget, but everybody knows what's going to be the engine, the gas to the engine for Flower Mound, and that's obviously my man Pierce Hudgens. running back for Flower Mound. He is putting in work for these guys. I believe he has 8 touchdowns on the year. But also, guys, look, in order for Flower Mound Marcus to even have a chance in this game, they are going to have to rely heavily on their defense. Marcel Brooks is going to have to play both ways tonight. He's not going to be able to just play wide receiver. He's going to have to show how he got that LSU commit, that LSU scholarship by being what he's done, and that's being the linebacker that he needs to be. Look, honestly, guys, Shorts BFF, Jake Welsh, is a guy that is putting up huge numbers, and he has the kind of speed where he's just walking away from guys on the field. So this is going to be a tough game.
Yeah, looking at really the standings and the implications that are on this rivalry is what makes it even more special heading into it. And we'll talk about this a little bit later. It's not only just that, but the atmosphere there is pretty wild whenever the Mound Showdown comes around every fall. Let's go on to another crosstown rivalry, this time in District 5, 5A, another district that we've talked about as a crazy situation. Frisco Lone Star, Frisco Centennial. Lone Star, of course, last week dropping that matchup on the crazy hook and ladder at the end of the game to finalize things against the Colony. Still, though, this defense for Lone Star, even at that 5-2 record, only allows 7 points per game. Still one of the best defenses, not only in the North Texas area, but in the entire state. However, on the other side, you look at Centennial, who's kind of struggled on the defensive end. If you're Frisco Lone Star, you look at Julian Larry, who has over 90 completions, has over 1,000 yards passing, and a chance to maybe solidify some things for Lone Star, maybe up at the top of that. These are the top 2 teams right now in District 5, 5A, or at least right up in the underneath the Colony, of course. But second and third, right up there in 5, 5A. This is a crucial game for positioning in the playoff implications moving forward. The other game in District 5, 5A, Frisco, Wakeland, and the Colony. How about that matchup, guys? Because we talked about it. The Colony sitting up at the top of that district, and Wakeland not too far behind either Centennial or Lone Star in that district as well.
Yeah, certainly. And the Colony, man, coming off that crazy victory. What a wild one last week over Lone Star. They're probably coming into this game as confident as ever. Rushed for over or almost 200 yards last week against that Lone Star defense, and that just shows this Colony offense can do it through the air, but they can also, when the passing game's not working, the ground game can come save them, even against a stellar defense like Lone Star. So that's incredible for the Colony. What a win for them. And then you look at Wakeland. Listen, this team, they've had it tough because they lost their starting quarterback and receiver who went to Prestonwood. So their starting quarterback, who last year as a junior, Dylan Cadwallader, my boy here, threw for almost 3,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions. The dude had a great season, and then he transfers. So Wakeland's stuck at quarterback, and now they got a 2-headed monster at running back. Caden Starnes and Charlie Burkhart. 600 yards and 6 touchdowns for Starnes, 300 yards and 2 touchdowns for Burkhart. These guys are the workhorses. They want to get them the ball. If the Colony can force Wakeland into having to throw the ball, the Colony is going to have cruise to victory. But honestly, credit to Wakeland. Losing your starting quarterback, and not to mention your starting receiver as well, also went to Prestonwood. Following Dylan was Easton Reeves. So these guys lose some things on offense, but their starting 2 runners are really, really good. But the Colony, man, the Colony's just having one of those seasons. They got the 3-headed monster with Harrington at quarterback, Abdallah and Price. Those guys are incredible, and they average 49 points at home per game this season.
You mentioned that duo that transferred to Prestonwood. We'll talk about that Prestonwood Lions team later because they've got quite the matchup tonight as well. But for Wakeland, they've got a tough task ahead of them of trying to slow down the Colony, who averages those 42 points per game. But guys, this might be the best matchup of the entire night. The battle for the Red Rail. And who better to talk about the battle for the Red Rail but those who are at least represented with the Battle of the Red Rail. Let's take a look at what this rivalry means to these 2 squads and how impactful it's going to be moving forward.
Red Rail. A Red Rail rivalry.
So they call the game the Red Rail rivalry, and it references the railroad that runs from Grapevine through Colleyville.
And I think the key to the game is really to go out and survive the storm, the emotional storm, and there'll be a lot of emotion and a lot of energy in the game.
I mean, you got to take everything personal. I mean, it's a little different when you're playing against your friends.
I mean, you can feel the energy in the school. There's buzz. There's talk about everybody's excited about the upcoming game.
This is an important game as far as the playoff picture and as far as seeding too.
This game not only is important to the community for, quote, bragging rights for the year, it's important to these kids for a district championship.
Everyone knows it as a rivalry game. GCISD,
Grapevine and Colleyville, so we're fighting for that red rail.
There's this trophy, and the winner gets to keep it all year, and so it's sitting over at Heritage right now. It's been there for a year. We're ready to get it back.
Hey, guys, I was a part of this game last year, and I tell you, when I say heated, this game was heated. Several ejections. I mean, more than 4 ejections. Colleyville ended up winning the game 51-28, but, guys, it was the whole time.
Tempers were flaring.
Every play, they were having to remind these guys, hey, don't get ejected. And even for the guys at Colleyville, some of them, they were worried, the guys that got ejected, if they were going to be able to play in the playoffs because of the ejections. Guys, like I said, this battle for the red rail, I've had an opportunity to be a part of 3 of these, and I'm telling you, they never disappoint. So this is one of those games where you throw the records out of the window because it's going to be that tough of a matchup.
And unfortunately, you're indoors with us this week. You don't get a chance to be a part of that game. I know you're just absolutely heartbroken about it.
I'm broke up.
You're broken up about it. It's okay. We'll make our night worth it. But Guy Frazier is on the scene, and he's got a chance to be a part of this game. And he'll tell us a little bit more about what the scene is like there at Dragon Stadium. Guy, take it away.
Hello, this is Guy Frazier with Friday Night Stars, powered by Game On Sports, coming to you live from South Lake's Dragon Stadium, where tonight there is no South Lake game, but we do instead have the battle of the Red Rail rivalry between the 6-1 Grapevine Mustangs and the 4-3 Colleyville Heritage Panthers. Tonight's game is not being played at Grapevine and Colleyville's shared Mustang-Panther Stadium due to stadium renovations being behind schedule. But that doesn't mean that tonight's game has lost any importance for both schools and communities. For Grapevine, they enter this game as one of the top offenses in the DFW area. In his first year starting, senior quarterback Cade Rhodes is the second leading 5A area passer, having just under 1,800 yards through the air and a touchdown-to-interception ratio of 25-3. He has many weapons at his disposal, but his main option, David Clayton, is the 9th leading 5A area receiver. For Colleyville, this season has not gone quite the plan, as they were a top 10 team in 5A Division I to start the year. But in their losses to 6A powerhouses South Lake Carroll and Euless Trinity, they were very competitive. So one thing you can say about this Colleyville Heritage bunch is that they are battle-tested. Wide receivers Cam Brown and Chad Turner are both the 8th and 10th 5A leading receivers in the area and will provide electric playmaking on the perimeter tonight. As far as this game goes tonight, look, expect a bit of chippiness in this game, as well as it to be hotly contested between both schools and communities. As far as predicting this one and statistics go, just throw all that out. As far as, it's a rivalry game, and just the nature of one like this, all that stuff really doesn't matter. One thing to keep in mind, though, is Colleyville Heritage has dominated this series in the past decade, having won 8 of their last 10 meetings between both schools. I'm Guy Frazier with Friday Night Stars. This has been my pregame report. I will see y'all at halftime.
Thanks so much, Guy. And he gave a good look at really the on-the-field type stuff. That's what he specializes in, and that game's going to be great on the field as much as it is off the field. And I just got a text from Guy right after he sent that in. He says, this game was supposed to start at 7 o'clock. It still has not kicked off yet. So they're a little bit behind on the pregame festivity. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're filing in the yellow shirts.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Before they went out on the field.
Maybe so.
They're talking to each school, no streakers on the field tonight.
Well, there will be a streaker on the field tonight.
Just one, maybe 2?
Oh,
maybe 3.
That's funny. Let's go ahead and move on here to District 6, 6A. Irving MacArthur, a team that started the year very hot. Were they 4-0? To start the season? Now they've dropped a couple games in a row. Well, they're on the road against Hebron. This is Hebron's homecoming game. One of the reasons why our boy Anthony, who's usually in our studio, is not here tonight. He's enjoying his senior night, or his senior homecoming, I should say. But nonetheless, it's going to be a good game, and a game really for both teams that are crucial for their playoff implications.
Yeah, no question about it. And Hebron coming up, man, they surrendered a lot of yards last week against Flower Mound, 500 yards in that loss. And they're going to want to bounce back this week. Fortunately for them, they're playing an Irving offense that doesn't put up a ton of points. So that's a great time for Hebron's defense to get back on track. Now, Irving MacArthur, they've won 4 games, but the teams they've beaten have a combined record of 6-3. 23. So they haven't really beaten anybody that good. Hebron, I think, is definitely the better team here. And MacArthur just doesn't have the offensive weapons. Their starting quarterback's a sophomore, Trenton Harden, and the guy just doesn't have a ton to work with. He's only got 3 touchdown passes through the air this year, 4 interceptions, 50% completion. So if Hebron can just force this team to have to pass the ball, then they'll be fine. We know Hebron's got the weapons offensively, Trajan Bridges and Jalen Lott, these guys. Trajan Bridges, man, over 900 yards receiving and rushing this year combined, 7 rushing touchdowns, 7 receiving touchdowns. And we know his ability in the return game. So the dude's just incredible. And then at running back, Jalen Lott, 6 yards of carry, 6 touchdowns. I think Hebron's going to probably run away with this one, even though that MacArthur defense is good. And in the losses that they've had this year, they only give up an average of 24 points a game. So even when they lose, it's not like the defense is just getting pummeled. But Hebron's just got too many weapons, and MacArthur just doesn't have any, man. So, and it's homecoming. Hebron's going to be on fire. Coming off that loss, I think they go out and get a nice statement win tonight.
Another team that needs a nice statement win tonight is Jesuit, as they sit at 1-3 in district play right now. They're at the bottom, except for Plano West, of the District 9 6A, and with a win over Plano today, they can get back into the real running in that district. But overall, the Plano Wildcats, coming off a big win last week, could really solidify themselves into some playoff position if they're able to get the victory.
No doubt. I mean, Plano got a must-win last week, knocking over Plano East. I think that was one of the big shockers of the night. Huge 41-19 win. I mean, Plano really put together their most complete performance of the season. And I know Coach McCullough, he reiterated that fact all week long in practice. He was hoping a game like that could really show this team, hey, this is the level that we need to play at every week to beat quality opponents. Can they sustain that kind of productivity? We'll find out tonight. Jesuits coming in desperate. I mean, the Rangers should be pulling out all the stops. If they have any hope, they can't lose another game the rest of the way within this district. So we know about E.J. Smith. We know he's got 100 yards and rushing every single district game so far this year. The question is the health of Kevin Schumann at quarterback.
Yeah.
He got hurt last week in the first half of that loss to Allen. So does he play tonight? If he does, and if he doesn't, how is that passing attack? The thing for Jesuit's been really their defense has been horrendous. I mean, all year long, this defense has been so bad. So, for Plano, we know they want to run the football. They were able to effectively rush against Plano East. That set up some nice play action passing attempts down the field. And defensively, if they can hold down E.J. Smith, they had 34 yards total rushing allowed last week against Plano East. So we'll see. That's a nice chess match. That Plano front 7, that run D against E.J. Smith and that vaunted rushing attack at Jesuit.
Also, not to mention on the other side, you've got Kyron Cumby, another highly touted running back.
He's incredible.
How about those two
going
up against each other?
Kyron Cumby going to Illinois and E.J. Smith, without a doubt, we know the name alone, and he's living up to that hype.
Definitely so. That'll be a fun game to keep in touch with throughout the night as well. How about the battle for Keller? Timber Creek and Fossil Ridge, these two teams playing against each other for some playoff positioning. Timber Creek 2-5. They really, really need a win in District 5 6A, and Fossil Ridge might be the absolute favorites here. But overall, this is a game that, if you look at Timber Creek, it's a must-win for the Falcons.
Yeah, it for sure is, and the problem for Timber Creek is, offensively they really depend on one guy. They're running back Blake Irving. This dude's a stud. He's got 800 yards rushing already this season and 12 touchdowns. But if Fossil Ridge can stop him, then they're going to be Timber Creek's going to be in trouble, because passing wise, Jason Akers, quarterback for Timber Creek, only completing 55% of his balls, 6 touchdowns, 3 picks. It's just their passing game's not great, so they depend too much on the running game. And Fossil Ridge now doesn't stop the run incredibly well, but they do stop the pass well. So if they can force Timber Creek to have to start passing the ball, then Fossil Ridge is right where they want to be. But man, Fossil Ridge this year, we were kind of high on them coming into the season, and then offensively they're just a little bit too one-dimensional. They can really throw the football. At quarterback Scotty Colas, I mean, they do 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, and his receiver, we know about Jalen Hurst. This dude's one of the best in the state at receiver, and he's got 300 or almost 600 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns. The problem is, man, they just can't really run the ball. So I would still imagine Fossil Ridge will probably win this game and win it pretty handedly, because Timber Creek, again, all they can do is run the ball, and their defense isn't good enough to stop the passing attack of Fossil Ridge. But the reason why Fossil Ridge gets in these games against the really good teams is because all they can do is throw it offensively. They cannot run the ball. And as Hek'ma, you know better than anybody, once you get into November and playoff time, you got to be able to run the ball.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. And being able to close out a game as well, that can make things easier when you can run the football. A lot of things are factored in to whenever you can or cannot use that ground game to your advantage. A team that doesn't necessarily use the ground game, but they like to pass the football a whole lot. It's Lovejoy and the Leopards, 5-1. They were 5-0 to start the season, and then they came up against Frisco Reedy, who right now is sitting right on the edge of that AP top 10 in the 5A ranks. But Lovejoy just ran into a wall last week offensively. Shut out 51-0 the final score. But now they've got a tough task again with Lake Dallas, another 5-2 team out of District 7 5A. Guys, what do we expect out of Lovejoy and Lake Dallas tonight?
Now, I'll tell you what, man, when you say the running up against Reedy, they 51-0, they should not be ashamed of that because Reedy is killing everybody at this point. But for Lovejoy, the Leopards are, trying to get back on track. Lake Dallas has to play desperate tonight.
Yeah.
Their season is on the line. They're in 5th place in 7-5A. If they don't win,
which is surprising,
right? And everybody coming into this season thought that Lake Dallas's defense was what was going to carry them, but also their quarterback Ryan Depperschmidt, who is a one-man wrecking crew for them. He's Mr. Do-It-All for them. But guys, look, when we talk about the quarterbacks that we have in North Texas, and we have a bunch of guys that are a treat to watch. But Lovejoy has a guy, Kason Collins. This kid, 1,266 yards, no interceptions.
Wow.
0.
That's incredible.
16 touchdowns, guys. He is balling out. This kid is definitely having a great season, but also Jai Rainey for Lovejoy Leopards. Another kid that is just turning around, handling the ball, and going into the fourth quarter, he's ball control and draining that clock. So, again, Lovejoy is looking to get back on track. Lake Dallas is in a must-win situation tonight.
Yeah, they really do need a win, and with everything that's involved in that as well, and being on the road, that's not an easy place to play.
No.
And Mallory Hartley is on the scene at Leopard Stadium. Beautiful stadium. Zach, you and I got to call a game from there last year, but Leopard Stadium is a tough place to play. Mallory is going to tell us about it here in a second.
Week 9 of Texas high school football is officially underway here at Lovejoy Stadium, and we are in the final home stretch of this season as both teams only have 3 games left of this season. The weather here is absolutely beautiful. It's about 74 degrees with no wind. It's just beautiful for a Friday night high school football game. Tonight we do have a very interesting matchup here at Lovejoy Stadium between Lovejoy High School and Lake Dallas High School, as both teams are looking to compete in playoffs at the very end of their seasons. Lake Dallas currently stands in 4th place in District 7 5A, and they will have to win out the rest of the season if they want to be contenders for the playoffs. On the contrary, Lovejoy is in 2nd place in District 7 5A, so they will have to maintain their district standings if they want to also be contenders for the playoffs. Tensions tonight are going to be really high as both teams really need to win tonight in order to keep their playoff dreams alive. Both teams are coming off big wins last week, so they will be very excited to play this game tonight. I will be back with an update at the end of the half.
Thanks, Mallory. And you look at Lake Dallas getting hyped up. Those helmets are absolutely gorgeous. Oh, man. Looks a little bit like North Texas.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah. Repping that mean green.
I like it.
Say that.
Lake Dallas and the Falcons, I love their uniforms. They look as good as usual. And then Lovejoy and the Leopards, you always got to love seeing the red and black. They look a little like, Texas Tech, probably?
Yep. Exactly.
Is that a team that you would probably go with? But, yeah, that's a good game. Fired up. And like she said, Lake Dallas needs to win. Hek'ma, you said the exact same thing. Falcons need a big one here on the road, and that's going to be a tough one to grab. How about Allen? 7-0.
Yeah.
295 plus on the point differential right now in the season.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. They have been running through.
Did you hear that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Zach doesn't like it that much.
There's not a lot to say. I mean, this is an Allen Eagle team that is just absolutely ripping through District 9 6A, sitting there unblemished on the season.
Tough one tonight, though.
I mean, well, McKinney Boyd, 2-2 within the district. They're 2-5 overall. Their 2 wins have been in district play, however. So they're sitting there in a tie for 3rd in 9 6A. Their playoff hopes are on the line. But you'd expect Allen to take care of business. Boyd, really the only thing that they've got going for them, their second leading rusher right now, Jaden Nixon. Well, they're second overall within that district running the football. So if they can run the ball, maybe, but Allen is averaging 35-point margin of victory within this district play. So if they don't win by 35 for the Eagles, they might be a little disappointed. They should take care of business against this Boyd Bronco bunch.
How about this next matchup as we finish things off in our first segment with TAPS? Really the best in all of TAPS.
Before we move on?
Of course.
Does Allen own any buses, or do they always play at home? I know we're moving on here, but how does this happen?
We've been questioning that all year long. And my best guess, I think, was they spent that year away from Allen Eagle Stadium because it was being fixed due to the cracks that they had, and they had to play on the road.
Okay.
But how about this game? Parish Episcopal and Prestonwood. Pretty much the top two teams.
It's a quarterback matchup tonight.
Oh, man.
I mean, these are two of the top three teams in TAPS right now within the area, and it's all about the quarterback. You got Preston Stone, who we've talked about a lot at Parish, the sophomore phenom, just under 1,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, 4 picks. And then for PCA, Eric mentioned him a little earlier, Dylan Cadwallader. And I'm glad that I'm not the play-by-play man for the PCA Lions because that's a tongue-tying last name. I think I would mess that up quite a bit. But he's thrown for over 2,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, 4 picks, arguably the better year than Preston Stone. But a lot of people just focus on Stone because he's just been anointed the golden arm. And since starting as a freshman, I know Heckman's a fan, but Dylan Cadwallader has been awesome. This is a PCA program. They've won the last 2 TAP state championships. And you know they've got a big-time tight end in Austin Stogner over there who 437 yards, 3 touchdowns. They got a big-time receiver on the outside. If Episcopal's defense can show up and slow down that PCA line offense, they've got a shot. But it is a tough place to play over there at Prestonwood Christian Academy. They are, I think, the TAPS equivalent of a Highland Park at 5A or an Allen at 6A. They're dominant year in and year out. It is tough to beat PCA.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. Really, like you said, the quarterback battle, the athletic battle between some of those guys on both of those teams. It's about as good as it gets at the TAPS level. We'll get some live highlights later on in the show as well. You mentioned Highland Park. Well, Highland Park's going to
Park should get a big win against Sunset, but they do play, and they're the top team in 5A. There you go. We mentioned it. Let's move on to the predictions. You're going to move
it out of the way. Let's at least look at the stats really quickly. 40 points per game compared to 19. This should not be any issue for Chandler Morris and company. Highland Park should get probably a couple of the secondary guys in there pretty quick. And out of the gates, Highland Park's probably going to run away with this. They'll be 6-0 heading into the rest of the season. But overall, that's our previews for Whataburger Friday Night Stars Week 9. We'll talk about each one of those games at length later on. But when we come back, we're going to do some predictions. The 7:30 game's just now kicking off. We're going to predict the winners for all 6 of the games that we have tabbed. We've got some good ones for you. We'll be right back here from the Star in Frisco.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the sweet and spicy bacon burger.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is my all-time favorite.
I love this burger. It's just perfect.
2 beef patties, 2 different types of cheese, caramelized onions. My favorite thing about this burger is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce and the bacon. You get it in every bite.
Nothing beats this.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is an all-time favorite at Whataburger.
That's happiness.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
You want to bring the heat? Prove it. With carbs to help fuel muscles. And electrolytes to help replace what you lose in sweat. Studied, tested, proven. Nothing beats Gatorade.
On a Forbidden Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Ramon, we can't.
But Julia,
We're rivals.
I can love you and still hate your overrated school.
We have two different defensive philosophies. You're a base 4-3 cover 2, and I'm an
aggressive 3-4 with press coverage. I get it, but we both love Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Ramon.
Touchdown, State!
Yes! In your face!
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Hey football fans, check this out. It's called Fan Tag, the easiest way to get video highlights from all of your games. As a parent, I know the value of capturing our kids' special moments on video. Fan Tag makes it easy to relive a memory or share it with family, friends, and recruiters. Download the Fan Tag app, and on game day, find your event and get instant highlights delivered right to your phone. So never miss a moment. Try Fan Tag today. It's free.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
In a world where a young family embarks on an incredible journey, a son gets lost in an epic film. A father wills his team to victory, while a mother tries to talk to her daughter, who is posting online at a rate she has never seen.
Back here for Whataburger Friday Night Stars, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas. Glad you're with us here on week number 9 of the Texas high school football season. It's been absolutely fun to watch. You guys excited about it?
I'm so excited. I'm starting to get giddy. I mean, games are underway.
Oh, they're underway.
I love when
Don't look at it, though, because we are about 8 minutes behind these 7:30 kicks. You can't look at it.
Boxed in.
But we've got to do some predictions.
I'm not cheating.
I'm not worried about Hek'ma.
Who's still leading the way, though.
No way.
Who would you be worried
we
about?
had to have tied.
No, you're
Yes,
not that.
Your
You're
calculations
closer.
are incorrect.
No, they're closer.
No.
They're definitely closer.
I was one game down, and I definitely caught up last week with that.
Why is he
Cedar
so
game.
aggy
No,
right
but you
now?
dropped
He's
another
just-
game.
What game was that?
It was one of the games that he picked. You guys differed on 2 picks, and he got one and you got one.
You forgot about that one.
No, I don't think that's right.
Because you're still one game below.
I'm going to fact check that.
Okay,
we'll
fact
come
check
back
it.
and
That's
look
fine.
at that one.
Fact check it. You're still a game behind, but Hek'ma leads now.
Thank you.
You and I are still pretty far behind.
I think I'm 5 games behind now.
Yeah, I think I'm 4. So we're
Nice.
we're out. It's between the rivalry at the end of the table. You guys will fist fight later. That's coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. That's fine. Let's go with Mansfield and Mansfield Lake Ridge. Lake Ridge, of course, coming off that tough loss to Cedar Hill. They had the injury to the quarterback and just kind of got blown out there. Mansfield and Coach Mayberry and company starting to get a little bit of momentum, but still looking at a 2-5 record. Who you got here, guys? We'll start with Hek'ma.
Guys, I'm going to go Lake Ridge. Lake Ridge, my team. I think they were caught a little bit off guard by the injury last week, but I think they rebound. They're the better team.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to go with Lake Ridge, and I think Chandler Rogers is playing, and we'll see how healthy he is if he does. I mean, Mansfield did play up in that rivalry game against Legacy earlier on in the season, so maybe they come up and put up a fight, but Lake Ridge is a better football team.
Yeah, I would expect this to be a close game, especially if Rogers is still banged up. He's playing, so that's good news. Since he's playing there at home, I think they'd get off to a good start and win the game.
It's going to be Lake Ridge across the board because I'm going with the Eagles there. I think they rebound against the Tigers. On the other side of Mansfield Summit, well, they had a couple big wins, or they had the big win against Cedar Hill. They're still sitting at 3-1 in district play, but they've got DeSoto on the other side of things. DeSoto at 6-1. Guys, is there any way Summit's going to pick off the upset? Eric, I'll start with you.
Is there a way? Absolutely, but I'll still take the home DeSoto in this game. I just don't think Summit has enough offense to keep up with DeSoto.
Yeah, I mean, DeSoto with Shandarian Ward at quarterback. They're just too explosive. Vontae Chenault at wide receiver is one of the better receivers in the area, and he's got a pedestrian stat line. If you look at his stats, they're not wowing you, but he's capable if they need a playmaker on the outside. I just think they've got too much talent for this Summit team. But Summit, one of the best teams in 6A, 18th ranked in the area coming in. So this is a good ball game.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the Eagles are better.
Yeah, there is a way. There's no way they win this game. DeSoto.
Boom.
I don't think so, boys. I think Mansfield Summit's going to win this game on the road. I think they beat DeSoto. Of course, they had the 7-3 win over Cedar Hill. They dropped a tough one against South Grand Prairie, who has an outstanding offense on their end as well. I think they learned from that, and they turn things around, and they're going to shut down DeSoto's offense in this ballgame. And Summit's going to come away with the victory on the road. That's my prediction for that game. How about Timberview and Lancaster? Well, we're sticking with the Mansfield schools. Timberview 4-3, a little bit of a disappointing season. They're still putting up some numbers, though. Zach, we'll start with you.
This is a very close game. You got Lancaster number 9 in the area, Timberview 13th in the area. A win for Timberview gives them second place in this district, 6-5A with 2 to play. Lancaster has a big game looming against Highland Park next week, and I know they're aware Timberview is good, but I wonder if they're maybe looking ahead at that game.
Pick them then.
And I am. I think I'm going to go with Timberview. Their offense has been on fire as of late, with Jordan Davis at quarterback, running back Stacy Sneed's got 10 rushing touchdowns. I know Lancaster's ripped through this district so far, but they've played a little bit of the weaker bottom-feeding teams. I think on the road, it's a tough one, but I'm going to go with Timberview. I think that offense gets it done.
Well, that's a solid pick right there. I like that. And that's even, you know what, you're going out on a limb a little bit on that one. Because you know they're playing in a way that's a road team.
Yeah.
That's a little risque for you.
It is a little bit risky.
Hek'ma, who you got?
I thought you were going to Eric.
Oh, no, I'm going to you.
He's got Timberview.
I'm going to go Lancaster on this one.
Nice.
I thought you might.
Well, that makes me feel confident about my pick then, because I got Lancaster.
I'm going to Lancaster as well.
Yeah?
All the way across. Zach's is our man out.
I'll be the
Lone
Land Wolf. That's fine.
That would be you.
I'm trying to make up some ground here.
You're going to have to.
Another good game. This one at the 4A level, Midlothian Heritage and Crandall. Heritage on the road here in District 8-4A, excuse me. Both teams only with one loss. This is a good pick'em game. Zach, I'll give you credit for this. I'm going to go first. I'm going to take Midlothian Heritage on the road. I like their offense, putting up almost 400 yards per game. Defensively, they give up a little bit more than the Pirates do, but I think overall, Midlothian Heritage has enough gunpowder to get this thing done.
I'm with you. I think Midlothian Heritage offensively, Lebdetter and that offense is just really, really good. I know Crandall's defense is good as well, so this is going to be an awesome game. But I figured, man, I got to take at least one road team, so give me Midlothian Heritage.
Yeah, 2 of the top 4 teams in 4A football, but you guys have hit the nail on the head with Midlothian Heritage offense against that Crandall D. Crandall's defense has not given up more than 21 points all season long, and then this Heritage team coming in, you can see it there. They've scored at least 40 points in 3 straight games. Landon Ledbetter is outstanding at quarterback, but it's all about my guy, Langston Anderson, at wide receiver. I'll talk about him a little bit later with my player to watch. I think that Midlothian Heritage offense scores some points. They surprise Crandall a little bit. I'm going with Heritage here.
Well, I tell you what, this is my time to Lone Wolf, guys, because I'm going Crandall in this game.
You're going with the home team.
I'm going with the home team, but I just think that Crandall has the better defense. That's going to be the trend. That's going to be the game winner for
and they do have a good running game as well. Dominic Rivers is a heck of a running back.
I'm just saying, Crandall. I looked at it and hey, Crandall jumped out.
Yeah, that's a good pick because that defense is legitimate. They've held up well so far, but it's going to be a tough task against that Heritage.
Separation.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Rockwall Heath and Mesquite Horn. Guys, I cannot believe Mesquite Horn is 0-7.
This game is literally on here for Hek'ma.
This
is
thought
a
they were
Hek'ma
gonna
pick.
beat Allen week 1. You know?
I don't know about that one.
What happened week 1 against Allen Hek'ma for Mesquite Horn?
I don't know.
But they were going to win that game, though.
Off the rail.
yeah. I can't say on air. I don't know. It just didn't happen. So.
Okay, I'm going to start things off just because that will allow Hek'ma to end up pulling up the rear in this game. But I'm going to pick Mesquite Horn to finally get their first win of the season. This is a much better team than 0-7. We've talked about them all year long. They've dropped a couple games that maybe they shouldn't have, but they also lost against really, really tough competition. I'm going to take Mesquite Horn. I think the Jags get it done.
I'm with you. They got to win sometime, and Rockwall Heath is a great team. If you need a victory at home, Rockwall Heath is a great team to have to play against. I'll go ahead and take Horn. Now, Horn's got a couple more games though on the schedule they can win, but why not?
Well,
tonight?
believe it or not, Horn can still make the playoffs in that district. They go ahead, They go ahead and go 3-3. They go 3-7 all at the end of it all. They win these last 3 games. They can still sneak in as a playoff team, which is shocking. It's really been Jermaine Givens and his inconsistency throwing the football. He's turned the ball over way too much. This Rockwall Heath offense is just very anemic. I don't think they're very good. And I think Jermaine Givens is going to go ahead, right the ship here. I'm going with Mesquite Horn to get that first win of the year.
Okay. I thought wow. And so, again, guys, as we all know, Rockwall Heath is the team. They're like the Florida A&M Rattlers. They're, the team the feel-good game you need.
Oh, yeah, a little tune-up game.
A little tune-up, homecoming. And, again, man, Horn is a disappointment by the numbers because last year, guys, these guys were balling, and now this year they have fell off the cliff. But, again, beginning of the season, tough competition. I'm picking them to win this one.
Yeah, very, very good. Very good.
That's a good one as well. Now, looking forward to our final pick'em game, Wilmer Hutchins and Dallas Carter. Carter Cowboys, 4-3, but they've got a tough home test at Kincaid Stadium. Wilmer Hutchins kind of under the radar a little bit.
One of the best stories in 4A all year.
Really, they have been 6-1, and they're putting up points. They're stopping opposing offenses. They've been the all-around team. Like you said, a great story. Who you got here, Zach?
Well, I think Kyle Douglas Jr., the quarterback for Wilmer Hutchins, he's got just under 1,700 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, 2 picks, but he also has 4 rushing touchdowns of the year. I think he's the best player on the field, and I think he's the reason Wilmer Hutchins is having this kind of year at 6-1, 3-0 in district. Look, I know Carter's a really good playoff team, and they're going to be more desperate tonight. If you're looking at which teams on that side, hey, I've got to get a win. I think it's Carter, and Case Williams at quarterback for them is pretty darn good as well, but I just like Wilmer Hutchins. I think Kyle Douglas Jr. is the X factor.
Well, I tell you what, man, for Carter, this is definitely a home game. They only have to do is, walk across 20 to get to the stadium. But Wilmer Hutchins is too tough. I'm not going
I really
there.
thought you were going to go with Carter.
I know you did, but I'm not. So Wilmer Hutchins is
You sure you don't want to go with Carter?
I'm positive I'm going with Wilmer Hutchins.
So he's going Carter.
I'm going to go with Carter. That's what I'm doing.
You're going to go with the Carter Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Carter Cowboys. I think they're going to get it done. And
That's
Wilmer
just
Hutchins,
you're a Crabtree fan, aren't you?
Maybe a little bit.
Jesse Armstead.
Amari Cooper really is where I'm at right now. But, guys, with that being said, that's going to conclude our pick'em games and our prediction games.
Well, I'm also going to take Wilmer Hutchins. Even though you don't necessarily care, that's fine.
Sorry, I thought you went
go ahead and
first.
take Wilmer
Yeah,
Hutchins.
go ahead and do that.
They're plus 172 point differential, boys. They've been dominating
They
this
have
year.
been.
I'll take them.
They definitely have been. But, guys, Eric, since I neglected to give you that last pick, let's go to players to watch. And we've got some really good players to watch throughout Week 9 of the Texas high school football season.
We sure do.
Chiafalo, start things off for us.
Yeah, well, I got myself a wide receiver, and I know, Walchuk, you got yourself a receiver too. I'm not going to say mine's better or anything, but like two great players. Mine goes by the name of Dylan Wright. You will see him at Texas A&M next year. He will be an Aggie. He's a 4-star guy, 6'4", 215 pounds, goes to West Mesquite. The dude's a baller, man. I mean, he's as aggressive of a receiver I've ever seen. They play the blocking. I mean, I know you don't. That's not the first thing you want to go to when you talk about a receiver, but it jumps off the the screen the way he blocks and
Well,
his
he's
aggressiveness.
huge.
Yeah, well, he's huge, no question. And his aggressiveness and his athleticism allows him to also play a little defensive end and a little safety. So they trust this guy to do a lot of different things. He's even played a little bit of quarterback. But receivers, where his mainstay position is, that's where he will play at Texas A&M. And here's the deal, man. He was an All-American last year. Every 50-50 ball is his. It's not a 50-50 ball. It's 100% Dylan Wright's ball every single time. And he's a man amongst boys out there. He's kind of a long strider, but he's got really good long speed. When you see him turn it up, he can catch a slant. He's tough and big and go over the middle, catch a slant, and take it to the house, and he's just shrugging dudes off him. He's incredible. And again, the blocking really, really sticks out. You can tell the dude loves to play. He's really, really aggressive. It's very rare you see a guy play receiver and defensive end at times. And that's pretty next level stuff.
Crazy.
He's got 24 catches, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns this year, 17 yards per catch. So what a baller. Dylan Wright, West Mesquite, going to A&M. And remember, last week my guy was tight end Baylor Cup. He's going to A&M. So A&M's just
God, they got some boys.
They're loading up. Jimbo.
Recruiting,
there you go. And they got Cam Brown. So Dylan Wright and Cam Brown,
Good point.
2 great receivers from this DFW area coming in that recruiting class. Outstanding job there. And then I'm going to go with another receiver, like you said, Eric. My guy, a little bit smaller, not quite as big, Langston Anderson from Midlothian Heritage. And we just got done talking about their game, but this is a young man. He's an extremely intelligent player. He hasn't committed yet. And when you ask him, hey, what are you looking for? What do you need to, tick off that box for? TCU wants him. Oklahoma State wants him. Baylor, he's got a ton of offers. And first thing he says is, I want to make sure my wide receiver coach is not an idiot wherever I go. He wants to be intellectually challenged. He's a student of the game. He's an extremely smart player. But I think the thing for me that sets him apart is his on-field awareness. This is a guy, the sidelines, he lives on the sidelines, man, and he just has a knack for staying in bounds. He's got extremely quick feet. He can cut on a dime, smooth player, good hands, can high point the football, but he also knows when it is appropriate to catch with your body. He's just one of those guys that's 6'2". He's a slender frame. He's not really the big physical guy like Wright is, but he just gets the job done. He doesn't really have a comp for me because I think his game style is a little bit like an Emmanuel Sanders who went to SMU, now balling out with the Broncos on Sunday, but he's a lot taller than Emmanuel Sanders is. But just the way that he runs his routes, creates separation, the way he's quick in short spaces, this kid is the real deal. And I think when you look at it 4 years down the road, receivers from DFW in this class that outperformed that 3-star rating, Langston Anderson's the name to watch.
And Hek'ma, I left you for last because I really, really, really like your player to watch this week.
Guys, I tell you what, we do a lot of talking about the Allen Eagles. Had an opportunity to just figure out what's going to happen with their matchup versus Duncanville. I'm already speaking it into existence.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
As you should.
But guys, I'm going to tell you something. That front line for the Allen Eagles is massive, okay? They have a kid by the name of E.J. Ndoma Ogar, 6'5", 322 pounds.
Oh, God.
And, guys, let me tell you something. You watch this kid on Huddle, and he looks like a dancing bear out there, okay? Huge kid, right? He reminds me of a time that I was watching National Geographic and I'm watching elephants, right? And you know how they show the elephants and you got the mama elephant, daddy elephant. There's all these tons of elephants, right?
Yeah.
And then the guy that's narrating, he has this English accent, right? And he says, and there is the baby elephant.
Look at the baby
elephant. At 272 kilos. And, I do what every red-blooded American does. I say, Siri, how do you translate kilos to pounds?
And 600. Oh God,
that's 600 pounds, right? And this kid, guys, reminds me of a baby elephant. This kid is just so big and nimble, and the way that he drives his blocks. Look, I'll tell you, the Ogar family, 4 years from now, you guys will be sitting in the room.
A first-round draft pick.
This kid, I'm telling you, his name will get called. His name will be on the card.
Well, it's a great name.
Where's he going? Oklahoma?
Oklahoma.
That's not a surprising thing. They have gone to that Allen pipeline and taken a ton of talent. When you
Big difference, though, guys.
Offensive linemen especially.
Big difference. This kid right here, I'm telling you, he is so impressive to see. But what he does on the field is amazing. There isn't enough stars for this kid. ESPN has him as the 189th ranked offensive line in the nation. Guys, I'm telling you, watch out for this kid. Remember the name, Ogar.
Oh, I'll never forget.
We're not forgetting.
Is there any potential way that on a daily basis he eats more calories than what maybe a Kyler Murray-sized meal would be?
Probably so.
Is that fair to say?
His body as a whole, like he just eats one Kyler Murray
just a Kyler Murray a day.
Per meal. I think
probably per meal. That might be it too. I have no idea.
This kid is amazing, guys. That's all I got to say.
Oh, man.
That's a big boy right there.
Well, guys, very quickly before we head into hour number 2 here for Friday Night Stars presented by Whataburger and Game On Sports, let's go through some of those Thursday final scores. Denton Ryan, Carrollton, R.L. Turner. This did not go in favor of R.L. Turner. Oh,
Not
man.
at all.
Denton Ryan's kind of figured some things out lately, guys. Am I wrong?
No. You're not wrong. I mean, this game was an absolute beatdown, and so much so, in fact, I mean, R.L. Turner, you look at it, they haven't won a football game, and Ryan coming in, I think, felt pretty darn good that they'd run away with this. Ryan, it was senior. They went ahead, and they sat some of their starters in the first opening offensive and defensive series of the game in favor of some of their seniors to give those seniors some more playing time, because coming into it, they knew on paper this was a matchup they were going to roll. They clearly did, and it started off on special teams. We know Ryan, they're scoring. It's not just that offense, but that defense and special teams is carrying the way. Billy Bowman Jr., an 89-yard kickoff return for a touchdown to open things up. That defense forced another 2 turnovers and a safety. Amani Bailey got it done on the ground. And Ian Hennigan did start this game for Denton Ryan because the quarterback scenario has been one to watch. His first start since week 3. He goes ahead and tosses for a pair of touchdowns and a huge 65-0 blowout win. Ryan's 38th straight regular season win, and they clinched a playoff spot for their 4th year in a row. So the Ryan Raiders proven why they're the second-ranked team in the state of Texas in 5A.
Yeah, they've been very impressive, and another big impressive win last night. Louisville over Irving Nimitz, 35-7, this final score. And once again, the Louisville Fighting Farmers continuing to impress. Nimitz was a team earlier in the year that was kind of a darling of the show, but now all of a sudden they're 3-4. But you look at Louisville up atop of that District 6A and really kind of proving themselves week after week, and another impressive win last night.
Yeah, certainly. They win it big, 35-7. But the first half, I mean, it was 7-7 at halftime, and the first quarter in particular, Nimitz really controlled. And we come into halftime going, dang, what's going to happen to Louisville? Well, third quarter comes out, they put up 21 points. A.J. Newsome tosses a couple touchdown passes to Dylan Clark. And Louisville ended up just blowing it open in the second half. So Newsome finishes with 208 yards, 2 TD passes, 1 rushing touchdown, and Dylan Clark had 120 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. Louisville's been impressive defensively, but offensively in the second half, they really got it going after a slow first half start, but that happens sometimes. The Thursday night game, come out in the second half, dominate the third quarter, dominate the second half.
Yeah, another dominant win. You said it yourself for Louisville. How about Little Elm and Frisco Independence last night? This was just across the hallway at the Ford Center. Zach, you and I were actually on the call for this game, so we had the upfront look at how Independence was able to get this win done. Coach Kyle Story and company wearing the nice purple uniforms. Little Elm looking like Navy with those helmets. But after a couple quick strikes early, Little Elm back and forth. But really, this game was all about Logan Brungard. That man right there.
You see him there playing big, 5'7". He took it over, put the team on his back. 2 rushing touchdowns, had a receiving touchdown as well. And Little Elm kept things interesting. There's their freshman quarterback, John Mateer, one of his best throws of the night, steps up, drills a pass on 3rd and long. They end up going ahead and banging in a score with Jefferson at running back. Little Elm is just so one-dimensional right now. If they can't have success on the ground, they're going to struggle. And Mateer at quarterback threw a couple of interceptions late in that football game that really helped seal the deal for Frisco Independence. But Braylon Braxton at quarterback, there he is here. He had a huge touchdown. This is a 4th and 16 play that ended up being the go-ahead score. 2 touchdown passes on the night for Braylon Braxton, but the story was all about Logan Brungard and that Independence offense. A big-time district victory in District 5A to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, just a huge win for Coach Kyle Story and company. Independence getting it done. 30-24 was the final score, and they really dominated that football game. Little Elm had a chance with an onside kick late to maybe pull it down and end up back into that football game once they were able to get within a possession, but really the entire time Independence was able to have an answer for anything that Little Elm had coming their way. So overall, just another nice win for Frisco Independence. We had an interview with Coach Kyle Story. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Northwest Eaton and Denton Geyer, a big game last night from C.H. Collins. Oh, man. Titus Swin along with one Kedrick Cobbs. Oh, what a running back matchup, and it ended up being fun.
Game. Yeah, that one was back and forth. I know that you had a chance to really pay attention to that one.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Geyer came out 49-21 is the final score there. Geyer wins it, and we've talked about Geyer all year. They've really started to hit their stride in the last few weeks, and last night offensively, they looked maybe as good as they have all season. Eli Stowers at quarterback. We know he's the young guy. He's kind of up and down. We've seen flashes, but he's also had his tough moments. Well, last night was another one of those flashes. 288 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Kedrick Cobbs, the dude is a man. You see him right there, just bumbling through people.
And that
into the
play
end
right
zone.
Before was a big Titus Swin fumble. Eaton had a chance to come back in that football game.
In the red zone, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he coughed the ball up there. But another thing, Eric, and I know you probably might have been getting into this, but I'm just excited because it's a cool Walsh nugget. But Eaton down 21-0. They know, hey, we got to unload the bag of tricks here. They call it flea flicker. They hit it for a long bomb. So on the sideline, Walsh sees it, says, okay. Goes over to Eli Stowers. We're running the same thing. First play, flea flicker. Call it. We're doing it. Touchdown. And Eli Stowers lights up like a Christmas tree, feels confident as ever, comes out. They call the flea flicker. They all bite on Kedrick Cobbs, and he hits Seth Metter for a 75-yard bomb to just shut down that Eagle comeback.
That's so petty.
Dude, I love that. I think that is awesome. I think that is so cool.
He's such a boss.
There are a few coaches in the state that are going to go ahead and make a move like that.
It's like anything you can do, I can do better.
That's how he is.
Showed him right then, right?
Competitive, man.
He's
Yeah,
such an alpha dog, man. I love Coach Walsh. Well, yeah, Geyer put on a great offensive show. As you mentioned, Metter, he ended up with 102 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, total of 524 yards of offense for Geyer, and they are not a team anybody wants to face right now.
Especially Byron Nelson, who they have next week. And Nelson struggled this year, but that's a game Geyer ain't overlooking because Nelson upset Geyer in the first round of the playoffs last year.
Oh, yeah.
Geyer is looking
Nelson.
to get some revenge.
Game. That's the last thing Nelson wants
Revenge!
That's going to be, John Walsh, man, he's going to be really
about
trying
4
to
different
figure
flea
something
flickers
out.
in that game, huh?
Ooh, that'll be a fun one to watch. We might have to send somebody to that game just for the flea flicker action that could potentially pop up.
You need to have a Walsh cam next
week.
We need a Walsh
That's
cam.
not a bad idea. We can maybe get that as a sponsored element. You never know.
Absolutely.
South Oak Cliff, Seagoville, guys, we don't really need to go over this game a ton. We'll look at the stats really quickly, but South Oak Cliff dominant again. They remain undefeated. Oh, man, that's a scary stat line for anybody looking.
Look, guys. Coach Jason Todd, friend of the show, has called in.
Absolutely.
Guys, he has the Golden Bears looking like, the Duncanville Panthers South. They are looking just that dangerous on defense, the big playability for these guys. But also, they have to be, one of the fastest teams in the city, guys. They have a guy, and I want to say it's Cameron Davis, had a 71-yard run for the Golden Bears last night, literally untouched. There was no one else in the frame when he got into the end zone.
Wow.
That's how fast this kid is moving. Jason Todd, I'm telling you, this is the new look Golden Bears. They're probably one of the teams in that district, in their district, period, that no one is really given a lot to, simply because they know that they're going to be facing a lot of formidable opponents in the first round. But I'm telling you, the South Oak Cliff defense is lights out, guys.
Taking care of business, man.
Taking care of business. How about South Lake Carroll as well last night over Keller Central? Another big-time win, 49-14. And South Lake Carroll continues to roll on their end as well.
Yeah, well, that's another team that I think at 8-0, how can you be 8-0 and a little bit underrated, right? Not a lot of talk is going into the Dragons. But when I saw this victory last night, I said, guys, I want to bring this up, that Coach Dodge has basically answered all of his critics so far, don't you think?
He's a Coach of the Year candidate.
Yeah. Coming into this season, there was so much speculation about the program, a little twinge of controversy there. But these guys have come into the season, his players. Will Bowers, another quarterback in North Texas. I'm telling you, I don't know where all these quarterbacks are coming from, but another kid that has 0 interceptions on the seasons. Kids playing lights out, and also TJ Daniels, he went to work, 2 touchdowns, guys. Easy sledding for the Dragons.
Yeah, definitely so. And with all of that being said, those were the highlighted games that we had for Thursday last night. Zach, you've got some other final scores you want to read through as well.
No doubt. I think first we got to mention an upset that went down last night. Last week we were talking about Wiley and their huge win over Rowlett, and they were really hot within this district. And they got a game on the road, and they're playing Garland Naaman Forest. Naaman Forest started the year pretty slow.
0-5.
0-5. Hek'ma's well aware because Mrs. Hek'ma is a Garland Naaman Forest Ranger.
0-5.
Well, all of a sudden, Garland Naaman Forest might be making the playoffs because they knocked off the Wiley Pirates in maybe the upset of Thursday Night Football, Hek'ma.
Man, listen, I am so elated that I can give good news on this show for the Naaman Forest Park Rangers, by the way. Team, look, how can it be that you start 0-5 and have an opportunity to make the playoffs? Coach Melvin Sadberry has got to be trying to figure out where did this team come from, because this was the group of returning juniors that he was expecting, juniors and seniors that he was expecting to see. He had more Letterman returning than anyone in the district, and they get off to a 0-5 start. And what do? Get one of the biggest upsets by beating Wiley last night. No one expected that in the area, but that's another area where you have Wiley, Rowlett, Saxe, Rockwall, all in the same area. Again, throw all the records out, guys, because it's going to be a rivalry every week.
Yeah, 24-17 was the final there with Naaman Forest beating Wiley. And I'm glad you brought up Saxe, because Saxe, another school, started off struggling within district play. Before district play, starting in district play, they've been undefeated on a tear. I think it's 10-6A, probably the inside track to win that district. But Garland Lakeview Centennial gave them a run for their money. Saxe had to score 21 points late in that football game to come on back and win it by a final of 49-38. So Saxe still in the driver's seat, but those Garland schools, man, they're stepping up.
Yeah, and Saxe clinched a playoff berth with that win last night out of District 10 6A. Yeah. So another big win for Saxe and the Mustangs, as they, like you said, have been rolling ever since district play happened. And we kind of saw that coming a little bit whenever we were talking about the Saxe Mustangs and the tough non-district schedule that they were going with earlier in the season. But a big win for them last night.
Absolutely. And then Lincoln, I shared it on social media. Hek'ma's alumni.
Wait a second.
Lincoln won a football game. We can celebrate.
What?
We can celebrate, baby. 36-21. Lincoln defeated Nevada Community. I don't know how they got Nevada to travel all the way to Texas.
We needed somebody. We needed a victim.
Now I know why Hek'ma was out so late last night, man. He was just celebrating victory.
Unbelievable. I can't believe how bad we suck. But now we have a victory, and we don't suck as bad today. So
that's fun to watch.
Congrats, Hek'ma. I'm happy for you.
Big time win. And then Garland Martin, a 69-0 victory over Fort Worth Trimble Tech. And then Denison, Frisco Memorial, dear friends of the show. We're pulling from Memorial, but in that inaugural season, they dropped another District 1 59-14 to Denison. And then Kimball, we're still looking at that big Kimball-Sock matchup, South Oak Cliff. Kimball continues to win, make that game interesting coming up. They get a 14-6 win over Adamson.
Well, so many Thursday scores. We've gone through all of those. How about the Friday scores? Those games have been kicked off. We've got a lot to catch up on. And real quickly, before we head to break, let's go across the hallway into the Ford Center, take a quick peek at what's happening just before halftime. Oh, no. Frisco Reedy leading 49-0. It's not halftime yet, boys. Lebanon Trail struggling here, but that might be the only time we look into the Ford Center today.
Oh, wait, look at that. Kicker's got a brace on.
That kicker's got a broken arm.
What a football guy, man.
Absolutely
Kickers
unbelievable.
Kickers are people too, baby.
They are people too, and Reedy continues to dominate. We'll be back with more Whataburger Friday Night Stars here in just a moment.
Nothing works up my thirst for an ice-cold Pepsi Cola like getting buckets. Whether I'm breaking ankles or breaking hearts.
Hey, Drew.
It always brings the refreshment, and I've been drinking it a long time.
Hey, Drew, how old are you anyway, man? Doesn't matter.
Uncle Drew, in theaters, June 29th. The future tastes good.
football fans, check this out. It's called FanTag, the easiest way to get video highlights from all of your games. As a parent, I know the value of capturing our kids' special moments on video. FanTag makes it easy to relive a memory or share it with family, friends, and recruiters. Download the FanTag app, and on game day, find your event and get instant highlights delivered right to your phone. So never miss a moment. Try FanTag today. It's free.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the sweet and spicy bacon burger.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is my all-time favorite.
I love this burger. It's just perfect.
2 beef patties, 2 different types of cheese, caramelized onions. My favorite thing about this burger is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce and the bacon. You get it in every bite.
Nothing beats this.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is an all-time favorite at Whataburger.
That's happiness.
You want to bring the heat? Prove it. With carbs to help fuel muscles. And electrolytes to help replace what you lose in sweat. Studied, tested, proven. Nothing beats Gatorade.
On a forbidden Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Ramon, we can't.
But Julia,
We're rivals.
I can love you and still hate your overrated school.
We have 2 different defensive philosophies. You're a base 4-3 cover 2, and I'm an
aggressive 3-4 with press coverage. I get it, but we both love Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Ramon.
Touchdown, State!
Yes! Into your face!
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
The beautiful Star in Frisco, home to the Dallas Cowboys headquarters. And of course, on Friday nights, it's home to Texas high school football and Whataburger Friday night Stars. Look at the Dallas Cowboys locker room, freshly welcoming in Amari Cooper this week. Should be fun to watch as they're on their bye week. Nothing really going on. It's actually a lot quieter around the campus of the Star this week, but not in terms of Texas high school football. Glad you're with us here for hour number 2 of Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Kyle Yeomans, Hek'ma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, and Eric Chiafalo. Wave to the camera, boys.
Hey,
Wave.
guys.
Yeah,
Howdy.
everybody,
Hey, guys.
Everybody's going. So glad you're with us here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Guys, let's get into some of these games and run down the scores that we have going on right now. Starting at the 4A level, Argyle and Melissa. This game right now is being dominated by the Eagles. Holy cow. And they're not even in the halftime yet.
No, I mean, this is all Argyle here, 34-7. And I will say, look, I mean, we talked about it. Like, Argyle has run this district, 10 straight district championships. Bo Hogaboon is outstanding. That offense is really, really good. But Melissa's no slouch. And to be getting blown out at home right now, I think is a bit surprising. And it didn't take long. I mean, this one has really been the second quarter. The second quarter was all Argyle's. They got up 14-0 with a John Crowder touchdown reception from Hogaboom. Tito Bice got into the act with a 6-yard run. And then Melissa scored. Jabray Young got a touchdown to make it 14-7. But this second quarter, Argyle, a 77-yard touchdown, a 51-yard touchdown, and a 63-yard touchdown.
Dylan Carter.
Just to pull away, man. It's been all Eagles.
Yeah, Dylan Carter is just basically exploded for Argyle. And, guys, not even halftime yet, 34-7. No one was expecting this one.
Yeah, no, by no means. I thought Melissa would at least keep this game
I thought
close.
this would be close, too.
But Argyle showing once again why they've won that district and won a district championship year after year after year. And they're flexing the muscles a little bit with that passing game like you talked about just a moment ago. How about the Battle of the Dunes? Or no, not the Dunes, but the Battle of the Bishops. And Bishop Dunn and Bishop Lynch in this ball game. And right now, Bishop Dunn leading 14-3.
Is it Dunn or is it Dune?
Oh, I don't know.
It's definitely done.
It is done, but they aren't done yet putting up some points, if you see what I did there. 14-3, they're up on Lynch right now. And this is a game really where you look at the quarterback play again. Is it Simeon or Simon?
Simeon Evans.
Simeon Evans is putting up some pretty good numbers right now.
Yeah, he had a 2-yard run at the beginning of the first quarter. Also, Elijah Yelvington had a 49-yard pass from Evans. Again, it's all done in this game. The only thing that Lynch has done is a 42-yard field goal in this one. So 14-3.
And you got to think, I mean, I know there's a lot of football left, but with how Lynch's offense has really struggled against a defense as elite as Bishop Dunn,
it's going to be hard.
You're down multiple scores. Yeah, it's a tough sledding battle right there for Bishop Lynch.
Yeah, you look at really the dominant side on that defensive side for Bishop Dunn, and they've been able to hold Bishop Lynch, who can't put up points, might I remind you, and they've held him just to that one field goal. 42 yards, pretty impressive, though, from Bishop
Not
Lynch.
Caden Davis.
Not Caden Davis.
You are Caden.
No one is.
That's a chip shot for Caden Davis. Let's move on to Cedar Hill and South Grand Prairie, District 7, 6A. It's a close ball game right now as you have Cedar Hill leading 6-0 in this one, and South Grand Prairie has the football. They are driving right now, but a little bit of a lead right here for the Longhorns as they get out on top early on the road.
Yeah, Shane Lawrence threw a 99-yard touchdown pass to Zachary Franklin. We talked about those two coming into the game. Franklin averages 33 yards a catch, and after that one, it's going to go up even more.
Look how Kyle's like, no. He's almost upset about it. Like, no, I was really hoping SGP had this one.
No, this is. But I guess they missed the extra point because they only got 6 points. But a 99-yard touchdown pass, but then Shane Lawrence comes back and throws an interception. So South Grand Prairie, the speed on the South Grand Prairie defense seems to be showing already, but also the explosiveness of that Cedar Hill offense. So this should be a fun one as it continues. But Shane Lawrence, 99-yard touchdown pass. It's crazy to think that you could average 33 yards a catch and then have a touchdown that makes your average go up even more.
It was a wide receiver screen. The guy took it to the house. That's all.
Well, hey, either way, Zachary Franklin
99 yards.
You saw it. How'd you see it?
There. I'm guesstimating on that one. So unbelievable.
I wanted to see it too.
Maybe we'll try and get it up on the Fantag cam. We do have Adrian Jagish at that ball game, so we might be able to get that up here in the next coming minutes. But looking at Flower Mound and Flower Mound Marcus, the Mound Showdown is one of the favorite names, at least that I've seen all day long at Marauder Stadium. And right now, holy cow, Flower Mound has been dominant.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think anyone, everyone, they called it the Mound Showdown. But again, Flower Mound came into this one dominating opponents. The only loss that they have, is to a team that obviously is beating everybody at this point. But Pierce Hudgens is having a game. right before halftime, guys. He's already gotten himself up to at least, 150 yards, 3 touchdowns already. They're up 42-7 already.
That
they
is
just
crazy,
scored.
man.
Wow.
This is not a bad Marcus team.
No.
And Marcus is at home.
Yeah.
To me, I get Flower Mound. We gave Flower Mound a lot of love last week. They're a surprise team here in 5A. Blake Short's a beast. But, dude,
the thing is,
Justin, they have negative 14 yards on offense for Marcus. This defense is shutting down Justin Dinka.
Yeah. And the thing about Marcus is, guys, they knew that this was a must win for them. If they don't, especially that brutal district that they're in, they had to win tonight in order to keep their playoff chances alive. But not a lot of life. And my coach Samples always said, if you give them a reason to quit, they will. And so it looks like Flower Mound went right out there and punched them in the nose, and they went and called it a night.
Just a sad night to have a letdown if you're Marcus, man. The biggest game of the year, crosstown rival, and then we might have to just start talking about the bands, Hek'ma. The football might not even be everything that's cracked up to be.
Well, and we did get a little nugget about that before we got on air about the 2 best bands in the nation. I was going to say state.
Number 3 and number 4 last year in the country.
Right.
Was Flower Mound and Flower Mound Marcus.
I do love me a hashtag battle of the bands here on.
So is that what it's going to be? Is everyone at the game waiting on halftime right now?
Honestly, a lot of people probably are, based on what the score is going to be. A lot of people are probably hanging around waiting for the best halftime show in the state.
And then
maybe
they're probably
going to leave. Show of the season.
They're going to leave.
Yeah.
That's and they'll put on Friday Night Stars so they can tell. All right, this is what happened at the end of it all. Flower Mound went on to win 75-7.
Hopefully, we can get some footage of that. And as we were talking about earlier too, the weather has prevented the bands to be able to do a ton of fun stuff this year. Well, it's a beautiful night.
Yep.
At least they're going to get a nice halftime show out there at Flower Mound.
Yeah, definitely should. And I do have a quick update on the fan tag cam here in just a moment, as I believe, actually, just kidding. Never mind. No fan tag cam right now. It did crash on me just now. But
it'll come up
I
shortly.
will give it to you. South Grand Prairie just took the lead over Cedar Hill. They are leading 7-0. And we've got a quick look at that touchdown here in just a moment. But moving on from Flower Mound into Frisco, Frisco Lone Star, Frisco Centennial. Guys, what's going on in this football game?
Well, it's 21-7. Lone Star has the edge over Centennial, and 21 first-half points for Lone Star. I think that might be a season high for the Lone Star Rangers. This offense has really struggled, and I kind of expected after that game against the Colony, they would come out and just kind of have a resurgence here because, Lone Star came in, one of the heavy favorites all year long. They've been ranked very highly in 5A, not only in the area, but in the AP rankings as well. And they came out and they got the football to Marvin Mims. The one game that I got to see Lone Star in person against Highland Park, Julian Larry would force feed Marvin Mims. He's their guy. And Mims with a 73-yarder and a 46-yarder touchdown receptions, respectively, in that first quarter. So Julian Larry with 3 first-half touchdowns. Lone Star looks in good position against Frisco Centennial.
Yeah, Julian Larry needed this game, especially last week. Guys, it had last week's loss to the Colony. I just believe that it had more to do with the conditions and the field. And
a well-executed hook and ladder.
And a well-executed hook and ladder.
My goodness.
Put it lightly.
A hook and ladder, you never expect to lose
win a
that
game,
way. No.
To win a game that way is amazing in itself. But again, Lone Star, nothing to hang their head about because, look, man, that defense is probably one of the best defenses in the state.
Definitely.
Yeah, and whenever you give up 7 points on average per game throughout 8 weeks of the season, you're a pretty good defense, it's safe to say. Now, looking at the team that did beat Lone Star last week on that hook and ladder, the Colony and the Cougars at home taking on Frisco Wakeland. They lead their game 14-7 right now. Still a close ball game, but overall that rushing defense has been outstanding again. It's one of the reasons why they won last week against Lone Star, but the Cougars showing they can play some defense.
Yeah, and credit to Wakeland for playing defense. Only 14 points for the Colony at halftime. That's a little bit surprising when you talk about a Colony offense that puts up 49 points per game at home this season. But, man, the Colony's defense is playing well besides one 50-yard touchdown pass from Dylan Label to the running back back Caden Starnes. We talked about him before the game. Now, the Colony was worried about him on the ground. It looks like you might have to be worried about him through the air a little bit as well. 53-yard touchdown pass. So 7-14 at halftime. I would say I'm a little bit surprised by how close that is. So credit to Wakeland. You really only have one offensive play, the 50-yard touchdown, and it's only a one-score game.
Yeah, I mean, look at those first downs. The Colony clearly just dominating that football game, time and possession-wise, but the big plays keeping Wakeland alive.
Yeah, definitely so. And that's one of the biggest things that you look at the Colony. Last week, they were able to put up points against one of the best defenses in the entire state. But that defense, if they can hold strong, that's a Colony team that can get really dangerous. And the big plays have really kind of bit them. It hasn't bitten them enough to have a loss, or at least a big loss in district play just yet. But if they give up the big plays, everything's kind of open. And right now, Wakeland just kind of holding around at the moment. Let's go to the battle for the Red Rail. The rivalry of the Red Rail. Of course, what a football game this is going to be. Grapevine and Colleyville Heritage. Hek'ma, I know you've got your finger on the pulse here, but there might not be a whole lot of pulse right now for
Well, I'll tell you what,
Heritage.
man, this one isn't over with, guys. Coach Joe Willis is definitely someone who makes some adjustments at halftime. Colleyville was in this game beginning of, at first half. They had Grapevine came out and they kicked a 28-yard field goal. Then Jack Ertz had an 8-yard pass touchdown from Cade Rhodes. And Colleyville comes back. They run a 90-yard kickoff return, missed the field goal on that one, and then turn around and give up a 93-yard fumble to Timothy Drysdale, one of the big uglies up front, rumbled and bumbled for 93 yards on Colleyville, guys, and running back was
stud. He had 3 return touchdowns against my Northwest Texans earlier
Exactly. This kid is amazing.
That's crazy, and what a momentum shift there. I mean, that's the big difference in this game. You look at the score and you're like, wow, this is lopsided. No, this game's been a lot closer than the score would indicate when you have the special team score and then Colleyville's driving and whoop, sorry, Batcha, 93 yards the other way. You don't get points, we do. Double up on that.
I know that had to, if you know Coach Willis, he did not want an interview at halftime.
No, he's probably not.
I know that for sure.
Still 6 minutes to go in that second quarter, so Colleyville trying to move the football. And with Trey Flint at quarterback now, I think that helps them as well. He's a much better passer. So we'll see if they're
you're going to have a big game from Cam Brown. Everybody knows it, and even Grapevine knows
Especially
it.
now, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Looking even farther down that 6A, we have 5A, of course, with Colleyville Heritage. Now going into 6A, Hebron and their homecoming right now against Irving MacArthur. Talked about MacArthur earlier being one of those kind of sneaky teams. Both teams at 4-3, and they're in a tight one right now at Hebron Hawk Stadium. And if you look at Hebron, they're a team that's lost some heartbreaking games this year. Coppell, the first one that comes to mind. But with that being said, this is a crucial game for their playoff hopes.
Yeah, and MacArthur comes in here, and they're playing good defense tonight. They've given up 17 points, but Trajan Bridges, the do-it-all guy for Hebron, has really not done much. Negative 12 yards rushing and 4 catches for 20 yards, no touchdowns. So they've done a good job sort of trying to eliminate Trajan Bridges. And that MacArthur defense we knew coming into the game was the thing that was kind of keeping them together, keeping them in games. And then the MacArthur offense putting up 2 touchdowns in the first half to keep it tight. And that's an offense that has been a little bit struggled this year. Their quarter, they don't do a lot through the air, but when you play good defense and you shut down Hebron's best player, that's going to, bode well for you. So only down 3 at the half. I thought Hebron, especially it being a homecoming coming off that loss last week, I figured Hebron would come out really ready to play, but only up 3 at half.
Yeah. MacArthur is probably surprised that they scored 2 touchdowns as well.
No, for sure.
Because of how anemic the word is for them
right.
on offense. But MacArthur, again, like you stated, Chiafalo, defense is another one. That's
a big drive for Irving Mack right before the half. I think they were able to score to cut that 1-2-3. They were down by 10. So it looks like it was Dylan Frettoloso. Is that an Italian last name, Chi?
Yeah, I like that right there.
So one of your brothers, a 22-yard touchdown scamper there. So Irving Mack, I thought Hebron, like you, was going to pull away and blow out Irving Mack tonight, but MacArthur hanging in tough.
How about Jesuit and Plano in that District 9 6A that's being dominated by Allen? Zach, do you want to do the honors on your alma mater, the Plano Wildcats?
Well, they're putting together now a string of successful runs. Look at Kyron Cumby doing his thing, tough physical running, and Plano is up 21-7 now at half. There's a touchdown run out of the Wildcat for the Wildcats. Kyron Cumby taking it in. He's got 2 touchdowns, run from 2 yards out, one from 14 yards out. And E.J. Smith, look, there's a heave down the field. I think that sets up an E.J. Smith 4-yard touchdown run. So this one was 7-all at the end of the first quarter. There's E.J. Smith running like a man. Still love Plano's all-maroon unis. But Plano's been getting it done on the ground. Tylen Hines, a big find here, a 71-yard touchdown run to put Plano up 14-7. And then they came back with a grinded-out, eat clock drive here right before the end of the half, set up by this big pass play. And that's what's scary for Plano. And they're getting it to Kyron Cumbie every single way they can. If the pass offense can work, we know they can run the football. But if they cannot be a one-dimensional football team, and if that defense can keep making plays like they did there, the Wildcats look poised to make a run and possibly get that third or fourth spot in District 9-6A.
And that would be crucial for Plano if they can do so. What a season that would end up being.
What a turnaround that would be, because they look dead and buried, honestly, going into that East game last week. Even I, as a faithful alumni, didn't think they'd get that. When they came out, they played brilliantly, and they're carrying it over against a Jesuit team that really might be the disappointment of the area.
Now, you say the matchup tonight between Cumbie and E.J. Smith, it looks like it's being dominated by Cumbie all the way on this one.
Cumbie's killing it.
Move over, EJ. Make a place for Kyron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I see what you did there. A little Brad Sham throwback. Okay.
Just respect to the legend.
Yeah, it was a little disrespect.
Tip of the cap.
I think it was disrespectful to the legend.
To one of them. Not to Brad. It was a
we don't need to turn it into a negative.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Honestly, Timber Creek and Fossil Ridge. How about this one? 5-6A, 4-3 Fossil Ridge looking to try and solidify themselves in the playoff positioning, but a must-win for Timber Creek. And it looks like that right now for the Falcons.
Yeah, they're absolutely playing like it, and I was kind of dogging them coming into the game.
They
but
must have heard you.
Blake Irving's the guy you must stop if you're Fossil Ridge. Well, so far, they haven't stopped him. 85 yards on the ground and a touchdown. And Jason Akers, listen, at quarterback, I said only 6 touchdowns, 3 picks coming in. Hasn't been unbelievable. Well, he's 8 for 10, 90 yards and a touchdown pass right now.
Unbelievable.
Fossil Ridge, we also said coming in, couldn't run the ball. That's holding true right now, and that's helping Timber Creek. They're just playing the passing game, and Scotty Colas can't get anything going through the air. They can't get first downs. They got 5 so far in the first half to 13 for Timber Creek, and Timber Creek's kind of just dominating the game, well-balanced, being able to pass the ball, but we obviously know with Blake Irving running the ball. And Fossil Ridge, man, I don't know. They must be looking at themselves right now at halftime wondering what the heck is going on. We had high hopes for them coming into the season, and they're really not playing well tonight against a Timber Creek team that isn't that great, and you're down at home 13 at halftime. That's a shame for Fossil Ridge. It is a little bit of surprise.
Man, that offense is just smelly. That Fossil Ridge offense is just not good. They're yucky. They don't play well. They can't score points. If that defense isn't shutting them down,
that's the thing with Fossil Ridge. They don't run the ball well. They pass it well, but they also don't. They can't score that much. They only average like 25 points a game. So even though they can pass the ball well, the lack of a running game has just killed Fossil Ridge.
Yeah, it definitely has, and they're continuing to struggle to put up points. Only 3 on the board against Timber Creek right now. You look at Fossil Ridge and wonder if they're really in trouble, not only in this game, but really in district play throughout the rest of the season.
I think they're in trouble.
One team that is in trouble right now, Lake Dallas and the Falcons, on the road against Lovejoy. Mallory Hartley's at this game, and right now Lovejoy is putting it on Lake Dallas at halftime, and they're putting it on them really rushing and passing. I thought the passing game was going to be the strongest from the Leopards, but right now it's both aspects that are going well for Lovejoy.
Yeah, the Falcons are not feeling the love, and there is no joy because the Leopards are on them right now.
Depperschmidt, what's going on with your boy
Depperschmidt?
Depperschmidt?
Depperschmidt he's had to be Mr. Everything for Lake Dallas. He has 78 yards rushing, 62 in the air with just 1 touchdown. Right now, it's all. It literally is all Carson Collins right now. He is dominating this game from start to finish in the game that is in halftime. But Jai Rainey has also been a part of the problem for the Falcons.
I think that's crazy, man. I really thought Lake Dallas was going to be a good football team this year. And like you said, I think it is the pressure on Depperschmidt. I think he realizes, look, this offense isn't as good as we thought we'd be. It's on me to make the plays. And he's been a turnover machine all year long. Turnovers have been the Achilles heel. He's got 1 interception tonight. Lovejoy's a good squad, but I really thought Lake Dallas might be able to get the victory here. But looks like Lovejoy's holding serve at home, man.
And I mean, you talk about Lake Dallas maybe not being a good football team. They're still 5-2 right now, and if they get the loss, they're 5-3.
But their 2 losses are in district play.
That's the biggest thing. I was about to go there. They are 3-2 in district play, and then with the 4 at the top of that district, Frisco, Denison, Lovejoy, Frisco, Reedy, all up there. all with only four wins and only 2 losses against them. Lake Dallas at 3-3 is going to drop to that 6th spot, and it might be a little bit tougher to get into the playoffs from there for sure. But moving on from 5A back to the 6A level, how about McKinney, Boyd, and Allen? I'm a little scared to look at this.
Upset alert?
Nope, not even a little bit. 38-0. We don't need to spend a ton of time on this. Theo Weiss probably has a couple scores.
Do you think he does?
I don't know. Do we
I'll
need
say
to
he's got
double check?
Over under.
I'll take 2.
2, all right.
2 scores,
2 scores for Theo Weiss. Yeah, he's got 2 scores. Yeah. A couple of touchdowns there for Theo, 54 yards receiving. Keldon Manning's doing it on the ground. Grant Tisdale, I mean, this dude, he's got to be a Landry Watch player. I mean, 3 touchdowns already in this first half. They're doing what we thought Allen would do against the poor Broncos of McKinney Boyd.
Yeah, that's tough for tough for Boyd to look at Allen and say, hey, we're going to win in the stadium that Allen has literally never lost in. And so, yeah, it's going about where we expected. Unfortunately, McKinney Boyd is on the losing end of that one, 38-0. But here's a game that's at halftime right now, guys, and I've got a quick fan tag cam update. This was just before the half. Solomon Turner from Prestonwood is from the 32 yards out, reels this in right around the 20-yard line, takes it to the house, and that's the difference in the ball game right now. Prestonwood leading Parish Episcopal in this ball game. Not really it's a tough ball game right now, 23-17. Prestonwood and the Lions up on top right now, but we talked about this game maybe being a blowout for Prestonwood. Parish Episcopal's hanging around.
Yeah, and you got to give Parish a lot of credit here because, we've talked about them kind of being an upstart program this year with Preston Stone, their sophomore quarterback. They finally got a really elite player at that position, and the rest of the team's kind of coming to form. But PCA's that dominant Goliath in taps, and Parish fell behind 9-0 early in this game. PCA took the opening kickoff, went right down the field, scored, and then came back and got a safety against Parish. So it was 9-0, and Preston Stone, cool as the other side of the pillow, man, came back with a 12-yard touchdown run. Then they answered back with a field goal to go back on top, 10-9, and then both teams have really just been trading scores since. So we've got ourselves a heck of a game right now down at Parish.
Yeah, hey guys, I got to go with the stat line. If you look at 1 turnover for PCA and the penalties, it looks like that's something that's going to be in advantage Parish Episcopal, but not so much. And guys, we still have another half to play. I believe in my man, Preston Stone.
Yeah, Preston Stone, both quarterbacks, you look at it, halftime stats, Cadwallader, 6 of 14, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns. Does have that interception that helped Parish out.
Yeah.
He had the pick. And then Preston Stone on the other side, 15 of 21, 137 yards, a touchdown. Did get that safety, though, that tackle in the end zone, but hasn't turned the ball over.
Right.
Parish does get the ball to start the second half as well, and because of that, maybe they get a chance to give the ball back to Preston Stone, and you never know what can happen whenever you've got Preston Stone with the football. We'll check in on that game later. We'll also check in on our prediction games as well, but we're going to take a quick break here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. We're live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, home to the Dallas Cowboys headquarters and the SWBC Mortgage Studios. We'll be back with more weeknight action here in a moment.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the sweet and spicy bacon burger.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is my all-time favorite.
I love this burger. It's just perfect.
2 beef patties, 2 different types of cheese, caramelized onions. My favorite thing about this burger is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce and the bacon. You get it in every bite.
Nothing beats this.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is an all-time favorite at Whataburger.
That's happiness.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
You want to bring the heat? Prove it. With carbs to help fuel muscles. And electrolytes to help replace what you lose in sweat. Studied, tested, proven. Nothing beats Gatorade.
On a forbidden Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Ramon, we can't.
But Julia,
We're rivals.
I can love you and still hate your overrated school.
We have two different defensive philosophies. You're a base 4-3 cover 2, and I'm an
aggressive 3-4 with press coverage. I get it, but we both love Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Ramon.
Touchdown, State!
Yes! In your face!
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Hey football fans, check this out. It's called FanTag, the easiest way to get video highlights from all of your games. As a parent, I know the value of capturing our kids' special moments on video. FanTag makes it easy to relive a memory or share it with family, friends, and recruiters. Download the FanTag app, and on game day, find your event and get instant highlights delivered right to your phone. So never miss a moment. Try FanTag today. It's free.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
In a world where a young family embarks on an incredible journey, a son gets lost in an epic film. A father wills his team to victory, while a mother tries to talk to her daughter, who is posting online at a rate she has never seen. Until now. With high-speed Wi-Fi, free live TV and movies, there's something for everyone. Download the American app, and the best in entertainment travels with you.
All right, welcome to the Derek Finch Halftime Report. We're here at Clark Stadium watching those Plano Wildcats play those Jesuit Rangers. Right now, Plano's got a lead 21-7, and it looks like it might not be going away at all the rest of the night. So far, Jesuits had a really, really rough time stopping Plano on the run. The only real play that Jesuit had has been a deep trick pass thrown by E.J. Smith, and other than that, they've just had trouble getting anything going on the ground or through the air. Quarterback threw an interception. But Plano's had some troubles now too. They're up 21-7, but they did fumble a ball. There's been a turnover, so it's going to take some more of that for Jesuit to get back into this game. Some more turnovers and just some stops. Just some stops. That's all you need. And scores. Points and turnovers. That'll win you games. Back to you guys.
Back here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars, Derek Finch doing a great job covering that Plano Jesuit game. And
I
Plano
bet he
Wildcats.
hates that, being a Plano West alum. He's like, this is yucky.
Well, his Plano West Wolves are down 48-0 at halftime to Prosper Eagles.
Shots fired.
It's not going well for Plano West. Glad you're with us here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Your Plano Wildcats, even since the halftime report, have tacked on another touchdown, and they lead Jesuit 28-14. As the third quarter is just underway in that ball game, and they still have put some points up on the board. Kyron Cumby is having
himself a day, 112 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Eat big dog.
Wow. That's over 14 yards per carry for young Cumbie tonight. And as he has just been all over the place. Oh, and tack on 4 receptions for 91 yards as well.
Wow. Heck of a fantasy day. I'm glad I picked him up off waivers.
There you go, off your waiver
Yeah, I got
wire.
him in DraftKings. Big week for us.
There you go. Good stuff. But overall, guys, let's look at some of these prediction games. And then after that, we'll look into some of the standings throughout the area. Highland Park and Sunset's the first one we're going to look at, and this is not going well for Sunset. Much kind of how we talked about earlier and how we expected this one to go. Highland Park is leading, and they are leading big time over Sunset at halftime, 42-0, and they have been all over the place so far, and HP just continues to pile it on. And I believe this game even before halftime is getting into a territory where Highland Park's about to score again. So we're going to go ahead and skip past the rest of this, and we'll talk about it later. Mansfield and Mansfield Lake Ridge. This is one of our pick'em games that we talked about earlier. 23-10 Mansfield. Coach Mayberry and company putting it on Lake Ridge right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm shocked by that. I did say, look, Mansfield played up against Legacy and got that win 14-7 earlier in the year. So, Mansfield's a proud tradition. They've perennially been a playoff contender, a state championship contender, gone 3 or 4 rounds deep into the playoffs, and they got off to that slow start. But it was really going to be, can they get that ground game going? And they clearly have. 164 rushing yards here in that first half. And Lake Ridge, I do believe, might have a chance to score here before the halftime break to cut that lead to a touchdown. But overall, man, guys, we've got to be just blown away by Mansfield here in this opening half.
Dominating performance for the Tigers, man. They are putting it on Lake Ridge right now. Not what we expected.
No, not at all.
We
Lake Ridge offense.
We weren't sure about Chandler Rogers and his health coming into this one, and it does not look like he started tonight. They held him out. Game time decision. Adrian Hawkins is getting the nod at quarterback for Lake Ridge. So that's also probably a big reason. Lake Ridge, their do-it-all quarterback, not only their rushing leader, but their passing offense really is taking a huge hit.
Yeah, that's huge. Whenever you look at what Rogers has done all season long, he's definitely going to kind of throw a wrench into things whenever he's not able to go. But at the same time, if you're Lake Ridge, you got to look at this and say, hey, we've got to step up. Next man up mentality. That's what it is. It's always coach talk, but it's also true for a reason. And right now, Lake Ridge is having a tough time of doing so. Got blown out last week against Cedar Hill, and then here they're down by 13 to Mansfield, a team that none of us picked in that the pre-show pick'em or whatever we want to call it. But moving on to Summit and DeSoto, guys, I was the only one to pick Summit in this matchup. DeSoto, of course, only 1 loss on the season. But how about this? Tied up at 14 all. I'm not out of it yet. Summit holding in there, but right now a couple long drives from DeSoto kind of setting things up for success here.
Yeah, no one's surprised by this. No, everybody's surprised by this is what I mean. Summit being up 14, well, tied at 14. But you look at the Eagles, they're going to pull away. I mean, come on, guys. Please.
Yeah, I still think they will. I mean, we shouldn't be, though. I think we're overlooking Summit a little bit, right? They're 18th ranked in the area coming in. They did get that win over Cedar Hill. Now, that's an asterisk game for me. I mean, I don't think we really got to see either team play their kind of football with how ugly the weather was that night, how sloppy that football game was with all the fumbles and balls on the ground. But DeSoto on the move here in this late in this second quarter, if I can speak English here, to end this half. They've got a chance to tack on a touchdown to go up at the halftime break. But look, for Summit, I mean, I don't think we should poo-poo this squad. I think we're very capable of playing with DeSoto. I just think, Hek'ma, we were on the same page thinking that DeSoto offense and the talent they have over there, especially D1 talent, would be too much for that Summit D.
Yeah, I think Summit, is overachieving a little bit right now.
So you think Summit's overrated, and that's fine.
I do, and I think that DeSoto obviously is playing down to Summit right now, and they're going to run away late. That's just my opinion.
Big second half.
Hek'ma.
Yeah, definitely so. And before we go to Mansfield, Timberview, and Lancaster, I do want to take a quick look we're going to go inside the Ford Center. We're across the hallway just for a split second. This game's still a blowout. You look at the score up at the top of the screen, 49-10 now after the extra point. But Lebanon Trails put up 10 points in the past 3 minutes of game action, and they just had a crazy touchdown play that I'm hoping will just pop up here on the replay. This is a couple seconds behind the stream from inside the Ford Center as we continue to watch the Lebanon Trail flag run wild. Here's that replay. As we look at the run here, just kind of found a seam after the read option, and he took it all the way to the house. And just a fun game to watch. Finally, getting a touchdown here for Lebanon Trail.
Jeez, that was a smooth pull right there to pull that ball out.
That's we were talking about this before the show. Like I said, my disdain for the RPO has given me the opportunity to sit down and watch it.
Because as a defensive player, that's a nightmare.
I hate it. I mean, because
it's frustrating.
As a defensive end, you're trying to make sure that you don't let a man get outside of you. And once you lose contain, like you just saw the defensive end do right there, it's good night, Irene, because it's off to the run of your safeties, your linebackers, everybody is bitten on that inside give. Once that quarterback pulls it out, he didn't have nothing but acreage.
No, not at all. Lucas Rexon, 59-yard touchdown run for Lebanon Trail. Now we move on to Mansfield Timberview and Lancaster. We've talked about Mansfield Lake Ridge trailing, Mansfield Summit holding in against DeSoto, but Timberview here trailing at halftime to Lancaster. Hek'ma, you and I picked Lancaster to win this football game, and they lead it right now 14-7. This is going to be another game where we're going to pick up some points on you across the table.
I got Lancaster in this game.
Did you?
No, you do not.
No, you're right.
I was the lone wolf with Timberview in this one. I went on the limb and said, and I think Timberview, it was a coin flip game for me, to be honest with you. I didn't think that this one, I think both these teams are evenly matched.
But how about the fact that Lancaster's winning 14-7 rather, with only one passing yard?
Yeah, well, it's all about their run game.
Man. Their defense is top notch.
They're just killing it on the ground right now. It's been all about Trey Bradford, over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns already. Jordan Davis with that big interception, though, for Timberview. I mean, that was the thing. I thought Timberview's offense coming in would be able to put up some points. They've got to figure that out in the second half. I know Lancaster does have an athletic D, but Timberview needs to make up some ground here if I'm going to get that point.
Yeah,
like you said, that's a little. This is a game that I'm a little surprised by, but not getting happy about by any means, because Timberview will come back in this game at some point.
Yeah, definitely. So one other game that's really close as of the moment: Wilmer Hutchins and Dallas Carter. Hutchins, of course, we talked about coming in at 6-1. This is a tough Carter team, and I was the lone wolf on this one where I picked Carter to win this football game. But right now, at halftime, once again, a close football game. Carter, even with -8 yards rushing, the passing game has kept them in this ball game. And if they can continue to hang around at home, you never know what can happen here.
Man, Wilmer Hutchins, dude. They're a good team, and a lot of people don't know a lot about them. Mm-hmm. They're not one of the sexy schools in the area, and Carter actually is that sort of sexy school.
Carter's the big name, yeah, absolutely.
But man, Wilmer Hutchins, they're a good team, balanced team offensively and defensively. And if you're gonna have -8 rushing yards, that's probably you're not gonna be able to sustain that throughout an entire game if you're Dallas Carter.
No, and Carter needs to obviously get that run game going if they're going to get to come back here. And really, it hasn't been a great game for Kyle Douglas Jr. at quarterback. He's been relying more on his halfbacks, a split between Monte Duncan, but Kyle Douglas Jr. does have a rushing touchdown tonight. So overall, stat line in that first half, Casey Williams beating him out through the air. But this is going to be a close one. I think this will be a nail biter all the way down to the wire.
Yeah, Kyle Douglas Jr. is definitely a gamer. I look at him coming out of halftime and just kind of getting his bearings. Guys, this is a rivalry game. I mean, these schools are close to one another. And Carter is a school that kind of lives still on their reputation, kind of like Plano. Mm-hmm. Kind of living in the past a little bit. So these guys just definitely have to wake up and come to play, because Wilmer Hutchins is definitely the better team, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Carter with -8 yards in the first half rushing. It's not even like they haven't been trying to run the ball. They've ran the ball 12 times.
They can't run the ball.
-8 yards. And
credit that Wilmer Hutchins D, man.
And if it wasn't for a big 90-yard touchdown pass from Carter, then this would be an even more lopsided game right now for Wilmer Hutchins.
Yeah, and we really kind of expected Carter to kind of hang around. It's whether or not in that second half, if Wilmer Hutchins can kind of get a couple points going their way, then things will maybe kind of turn around a little bit. But it is going to be a lot of these games at halftime right now throughout the area. We do have an update from Keller Timber Creek and Keller Fossil Ridge. This is a close game at halftime right now, and we've got Luke Trujillo on the line, and he's actually live at this game. Luke, what's going on at halftime between Timber Creek and Fossil Ridge?
Hi, this is Luke Trujillo from KISD Stadium, where we have the Fossil Ridge Panthers taking on the Timber Creek Falcons. So far, my prediction is wrong. Timber Creek has been controlling this game on both sides of the ball. They have turnovers. They have massive catches by their massive wide receivers. Fossil Ridge is committing too many penalties, and they are not playing up to what I thought they would be in the first half. I predict in the second half they turn things around, but we will see. Timber Creek's wide receivers have just been going off, making one-handed catch after one-handed catch. Number 80 made a super clutch catch before the half to make it 16-3, putting the Timber Creek Falcons with a comfortable lead at the half. Hopefully the second half is a better game for Fossil Ridge, but I don't see it. Timber Creek has been controlling both sides of the ball. They've made minimal mistakes, so we'll see. And I'll be back at the end of the game with the end game report. Thank you. Back to you guys.
We will see indeed. Thanks so much, Luke, as we do go through some of the rest of the scores throughout the area. And Zach, I believe you have an update for, I believe it was the...
Crandall.
It was Crandall and Midlothian Heritage. Who's up in that game?
Yeah, so Midlothian Heritage currently up 27-10 on Crandall. Don't have, unfortunately, any stats or more information to give you, but Heritage is up on Crandall in that one. And that's when I picked here. Did we all pick Heritage except for Hek'ma picked Crandall in this one?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so look, my guy, Langston Anderson, look out for that name at wide receiver. He's getting it done. They're doing some good things there with Midlothian Heritage.
Now, do you see how classy I was when I didn't lone wolf you on the one that you see that I didn't even mention it. I didn't even say it.
You've always got to take it.
I just moved right over it.
Mr. Sensitive.
But I'm just saying I didn't have to point that out to you. I mean, come on, man. Can we have a little Hershey's Kiss to pass over to him when he does that?
Absolutely. I think he loves those.
He does.
I'm not going to turn down a kiss.
Of course you will.
I know we just got an update with the Fossil Ridge and Timber Creek game, but one more thing about in the second half. I don't know if the Ridge quarterback Scotty Colas got hurt or what, but it looks like Austin Stolman's come out in the second half, and he's already thrown 2 touchdown passes. Wow. He's 5 for 6,
Where's
92 yards, 2 touchdown passes.
Why are you just now going to this kid?
I'm not really sure if he got
on the bench.
Again, I don't know if Colas got injured or if they pulled him because Fossil Ridge was not looking good offensively in that first half, but now with 2 touchdown passes, Fossil Ridge is up 17-16.
They found their offense. How shocking is that? A game that's had no offense is Rockwall Heath and Mesquite Horn. Another game where we don't have stats for you, but it's 6-0. Rockwall Heath is up, and that could very possibly be 3 safeties.
I had that being a barn burner. I don't know.
6-0 Horn. I just don't get it, man. I don't know how Mesquite Horn has dropped off this drastically on offense. I don't know who has taken Jermaine Givens' talent. It's like Space Jam, man. Somebody came over, sucked Jermaine Givens' talent away, and the guy right now just has forgotten how to play football. I know he's been struggling through the air. He's been making up for it on the ground, and I really thought tonight he'd be able to find a way to pull Horn to a victory. Still clearly within reach. It's a one-possession game. But that Heath defense doing what they did against Mesquite right now and just shutting out that Horno.
Well, guys, I've got a lead change heading into the break. We've gone 2 hours here of Whataburger Friday Night Stars, and I've got a lead change, and I've got it live on the Fan Tag Cam. Whenever we go here to the Fan Tag Cam, this is Parish Episcopal and Preston Wood. Look at this. Preston Stone hands it off up the middle, breaking some tackles and going all the way with the Mac at the bottom. Karn Lynch, 42-yard touchdown run, and Parrish leads it 24-23. We'll be back with hour number 3 of Whataburger Friday Night Stars live from the Star in Frisco.
Nothing works up my thirst for an ice-cold Pepsi Cola like getting buckets. Whether I'm breaking ankles or breaking hearts.
Hey, Drew.
It always brings the refreshment, and I've been drinking it a long time.
Drew, how old are you anyway, man?
Doesn't matter.
Uncle Drew, in theaters June 29th. Future tastes good.
Hey football fans, check this out. It's called FanTag, the easiest way to get video highlights from all of your games. As a parent, I know the value of capturing our kids' special moments on video. FanTag makes it easy to relive a memory or share it with family, friends, and recruiters. Download the FanTag app and on game day, find your event and get instant highlights delivered right to your phone. So never miss a moment. Try FanTag today. It's free.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the sweet and spicy bacon burger.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is my all-time favorite.
I love this burger. It's just perfect.
2 beef patties, 2 different types of cheese, caramelized onions. My favorite thing about this burger is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce and the bacon. You get it in every bite.
Nothing beats this.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is an all-time favorite at Whataburger.
That's happiness.
You want to bring the heat? Prove it. With carbs to help fuel muscles. And electrolytes to help replace what you lose in sweat. Studied, tested, proven. Nothing beats Gatorade.
On a forbidden Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Ramon, we can't.
But Julia,
We're rivals.
I can love you and still hate your overrated school.
We have 2 different defensive philosophies. You're a base 4-3 cover 2, and I'm an
aggressive 3-4 with press coverage. I get it, but we both love Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Ramon.
Touchdown, State! Yes! In your face!
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Live from the Star in Frisco. Gosh, one of the more beautiful venues in all of football lore.
lies here in Frisco, Texas, and we are glad to be broadcasting from the Star in Frisco every week, every Friday for Whataburger Friday Night. Stars, glad you're with us. Hour number 3 as we are flying through week number 9.
Blindly just flying through.
Blindly flying through. That's
it is
where I was
crazy. All of
going,
a sudden
right?
you look up and holy moly, it's 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Can't believe it.
Week 9 at 9.
Week 9 and 9. There, hey, that's pretty good.
That's
I like
good.
that. That's nice. We could do 10 at 10 next week, and we can kind of go into that a little bit. I don't know. Maybe we'll even do an 11 at 11. I don't know.
Make a wish.
I'm a fan.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. But for right now, we've got one more hour heading into overtime, and then in overtime, we'll run through all of the games. Kyle Yeomans alongside Hek'ma Harrison, Zach Wolchuk, and Eric Chiafalo. Once again, glad you're with us, whether you're on YouTube or Vimeo. Guys, as we run through some of the scores, we'll let some of these games develop a little bit more. We just talked about how Parish Episcopal took the lead over number 1 and defending state TAPS champion Prestonwood with a touchdown from Preston Stone and handing that ball off, and another touchdown for the Panthers. Prestonwood is driving in that game currently. But with that being said, there are a lot of districts. Oh, I take it back. I'm looking at this game right now on my screen.
Breaking news.
Breaking. I don't think you can find this footage anywhere else. Let's go to the fan tag cam, and that's what's so great about fan tag. I just mentioned this football game. Parish on defense, Prestonwood in the white from the 46-yard line, and Prestonwood gets behind the defense wide open. And the Lions take the lead back. No flags on the play. And Prestonwood's going to take a quick lead, striking back from the original lead. That's
What
a good
fun
football
game to
game.
be
Yeah,
at
that's an
tonight,
offensive.
boys.
Hey, those quarterbacks are living up to the billing. Cadwallader and then Preston Stone. You knew it was going to be an offensive shootout. We were hoping for a Manning Romo-esque like game. We might be getting it.
But yeah, with that being said, and with the incredible game that's going on there are a lot of games that are crucial to playoff implications. Let's go through some of these standings really quickly. District 6-6A is where we're going to start things out. Of course, tonight they're hosting the Battle of the Mound Showdown, where right now Flower Mound is dominating Marcus. But overall, with these different district standings, 4-0, Flower Mound at the top can clinch their first ever playoff appearance in the 2010 decade with a win tonight. And how fun is that?
That's awesome for Flower Mound, especially a team, like you said, that hadn't made the playoffs in years for these guys. But they're playing like it. They've done that all season long, playing with the purpose. And, you got to make the first check mark. And for every team starting out in two-a-days is win district. And Flower Mound is that much closer to that.
And to do it over Flower Mound Marcus, crosstown rival in dominant fashion like that, what a great night to be Flower Mound.
It's crazy. I just don't think anyone looking at this district coming into the season would have said, all right, your top 2 teams are going to be Flower Mound and Louisville.
Yeah.
And Louisville's defense has just been absolutely phenomenal all year long. And now you look at Flower Mound and you see how, that was a game early on in district play where you still weren't really sure, like, all right, how good are these teams? And Flower Mound got a 35-27 win. The ability to put up 35 points on that Louisville defense that's
amazing.
Really held everyone to 20 points or less, if they're even able to get into double digits, is crazy. And then, look at that Flower Mound Marcus Hebron game now. How close that one went down to the wire, and then you got down to the wire, and then you got Irving Mack now. This Irving Mack Hebron game becomes humongous tonight.
Yes.
The winner of that one, that might be the difference to making it in and to not.
Well, especially with Flower Mound. Marcus struggling right now, but the loser of Hebron and MacArthur, if Marcus ends up losing that football game and they don't come back against Flower Mound, they're right there in between it, and then it comes down to either MacArthur or Marcus.
And Marcus and MacArthur play next week. So mega district implications here.
Yeah, the game that I'm telling you guys, the team that I want to tell you in the 6-6A is Capel. Capel, to me, was the one team that came in that everyone expected to dominate with all of the athletes that they have at the skill position. The one thing that you look at Capel and you say, man, if they could just get a quarterback that can get the ball to these guys because of all the studs that they have. Fortunately for them, they have a kicker That is amazing. So he's been pulling the Cardiac Cowboys out of a lot of situations.
And Coppell's still got a chance to win that district. They get to play Flower Mound next week at home. So they're in the driver's seat tonight against Irving, already up 41-6 in the fourth quarter of that game. So that this district's still up for grabs.
Yeah, definitely. So another district that is completely and utterly up for grabs, not only just to win the district, but to even make playoffs. How about District 7 6A? And we alluded to this earlier. Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Lake Ridge, Summit, South Grand Prairie, all tied up at the top of that district at 3-1.
Unbelievable.
4 teams make the playoffs here.
Yep, the District of Doom, and it is true, man.
I tell you what, man, that's a district where you just throw a sharp object in the room, and whoever comes out is the winner.
Well, tonight there's going to be a little bit of separation here, though, because South Grand Prairie playing Cedar Hill, Summit, and DeSoto, both of those games really close at the moment. We'll talk about those scores here in just a second. But Mansfield up right now on Mansfield. Lake Ridge could throw a little bit of a wrench into things as well.
No doubt. And I think it's very impressive for SGP. It looked like they were dead and buried as we were talking about. They come in, they've won 3 in a row within this district. So, this one is anybody's guess right now. But today will go a long way in kind of deciding things a little bit. But these next 2 weeks are going to be huge in 7-6A.
How about 9-6A? Allen, of course, up at the top of that district at 4-0. They're 7-0 overall, plus 235 in the point differential column. And this is another Allen-dominated district, but you look underneath that, and then you've got Prosper at 3-1, and then 4 teams at 2-2. Plano East, Plano, McKinney, Boyd, all vying for those final 3 playoff spots underneath Allen. This district is not over with by a long shot, and Jesuit, McKinney, Boyd look like they're about to drop a couple games. Plano trying to hold on against Jesuit, who's coming back here, Zach, but other than that, those top 4 teams are definitely not set in stone.
No, not at all. And it's going to get a little more crowded because McKinney is in a dogfight with Plano East right now. McKinney is up by 1, 28-27 in that fourth quarter. So all of a sudden, it looked like your top 3 in this district were set in stone. Allen, Prosper, East. Who knows what order? Allen will be at the top. We'll see what happens with East and Prosper. Plano East has lost itself. That was a demoralizing defeat to Allen. They got blown out by Plano. They might lose to McKinney here tonight. So this is just an absolute kerfuffle for the final 2 spots. I think Allen and Prosper are getting in. Prosper's going to run away, maybe shut out Plano West here tonight. But those final 2 spots between Boyd, McKinney, Plano, and East, and then you've got all these teams have beaten each other. East has beaten Plano. Plano's beaten East, but McKinney's beaten Plano. And then East has beaten Boyd. It's just a crazy mess within that district.
Yeah, I don't believe in Prosper in that division. I think they're the newcomer to the division, and they have some very tough games coming down the stretch.
They do, but they're about to be 4-1.
Yeah, well, even still, they have Plano. I was going to give you some props, and then you interrupted me.
Okay,
so stop.
So
for
he
a
takes
second.
it back.
Right, I take it back. All right. So how about Prosper taking number 2? You guys are out of the playoffs on this one, and that's where we're going.
So Plano goes from 2 to out of the playoffs.
There you go. I was trying to give you some props there, but Prosper again. I think they have the final game of the season versus Allen, and their next game is versus Plano West. So again, any traction that's going to be made up on them had to be done tonight. Not going to happen. But again, you know for sure, and we all know it, unless just Allen sends the JV squad out there in their last game, they're going to roll on Prosper.
I think they might actually still end up winning if they throw the JV squad out there. That's how deep Allen is.
That's a good point.
Be a heck of a game.
I'm just saying, it would be a heck of a game. But Allen does clinch a playoff spot with a win tonight over McKinney Boyd, the defending 6A Division I state champion. Allen Eagles. Now moving to District 10 6A. This one also what did you call it, Zach? A kerfluffle?
A kerfuffle.
I'm not even gonna say that. I feel like I'm
kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle.
Okay. Well, with that being said, Saxon we talked about earlier, clinching a playoff spot with their win last night and a big time win last night. And then you look at the rest of that district, still not out of it yet. How about Garland, Naaman, Forest in the middle of things? But other than that, Rowlett, who's kind of struggled, Wiley, who had the 1 win over Rowlett but got upset last night by Naaman Forest. There's a lot still to be decided here.
Yeah, Wiley should be just kicking themselves right now because they had an opportunity to be right there behind Saxey going into the matchup with them. They just dropped the ball on this one.
They really did. And for Saxey, if they can they got South Garland, that should be a win next week. So they should be 6-0. heading into the district finale against Rowlett. And that should really be for who wins this district between those two teams. But the rest of it, I mean, Lakeview Centennial, they've got a big game coming up against Naaman Forest to end the season. And
that'll be
that
huge.
Could be it. That could be for that fourth and final spot in that 10-6A district.
How crazy would it be if Naaman Forest starts the season out 0-5?
And we're joking about how bad they are.
I know, we really were. And then they make the playoffs. That'd be amazing.
That would be outstanding. Some of the different scenarios that are involved with this, Rowlett and Wiley both make the playoffs with a win, a Saxe win, which happened last night, and a North Garland loss. While Rowlett faces Garland, Wiley plays Garmin Naaman Forest. In that game, of course, we saw how that ended up last night, and North Garland plays South Garland. So with that being said, Wiley's not making the playoffs this week, but Rowlett definitely could with a little bit of help from South Garland if South Garland could pull off the win. Now, that's it for 6A. Let's take a look at one more 5A district for 5A. We've talked about this district because of Denton Ryan. Now 5-0 in district play. They continue to put up big-time numbers. 271 plus 271 on the point differential. They've clinched a playoff spot. After that, though, 4 good teams. Birdville, Grapevine, Colleyville, Heritage, of course, those two playing right now. And then Carrollton, Newman, Smith, not out of it either.
No, and Ryan, their schedule is backloaded. These next 2 weeks, they've got on the road at Grapevine, and then they come on home to play Birdville. So, the top 3 teams in this district, they will all play each other here in these next 2 weeks, and that it just makes this big game here with Colleyville Heritage. It's a needed win against this Grapevine team, and I don't know if they're going to get it.
Hey, a couple weeks ago, I told you to circle on your calendar that Birdville-Denton Ryan game. And look, heading into that game, both of those teams undefeated. That is going to be a big finale to the season for these guys in 5A.
And Ryan might be getting their quarterback situation handled steady a little bit, or it's still certainly a question mark going into the playoffs, and that's going to really be the Achilles heel for Ryan as they go. But it'll be fun to watch them against that Birdville offense and that Grapevine offense, against that stellar Denton Ryan defense. That's a great way to close out the season. Thank you, schedule makers.
Birdville and Grapevine both make the playoffs with a win, and as of right now, that's what it looks like could be happening this week, with Birdville up and then Grapevine up as well over Colleyville Heritage. Colleyville Heritage clinches a spot with a win and a Denton loss, and just some things kind of working itself out in District 4 5A. Guys, let's run through some of these scores throughout the area just really quickly. 6A scores real fast. Non-highlighted games, Zach. Let's take a look at some of the scores that we haven't talked about a whole lot today.
Well, Coppell is up on Irving 48-6, as we mentioned. Rowlett, we were just talking about their district. They're looking like they are going to hold on and knock off Garland 35-8. Keller and Trophy Club Byron Nelson. Look, Keller was a darling team early in this season. They are in trouble right now. They're up by 2, 22-20, up on Trophy Club Byron Nelson, but that's a game. Nelson coming in with just 1 loss. I think a lot of people probably thought, well, Keller will bulldoze over Byron Nelson. That's not the case right now at all. Plano East and McKinney. McKinney scored again. They're up 35-17 on Plano East, so that continues to just really put that whole district. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't think a lot of people thought McKinney, with a new head coach, a team that graduated a lot of players from a playoff team last year, would be able to contend. They're doing so. Prosper up 48-0 on Plano West, so that's another big win for Prosper within that district, even though Hek'ma doesn't think they're very good. San Angelo Central up 10-2 on Hearst LD Bell. And then you've got South Garland, who we were just talking about. If they could maybe pull an upset tonight, I just don't think that looks like it's going to happen against North Garland. Arlington Bowie is up 40-0 on Fort Worth Pascal. Those Arlington schools continue to just beat up on the Fort Worth schools. Arlington Lamar and Arlington Sam Houston, some inner city clash right there. 27-0. Lamar's great season continues. Grand Prairie's up on 14-0 against Waxahachie. And Waxahachie's a team that, man, they've struggled this year as well. Holtham, who's kind of all of our darlings, right, this year. Everybody's got to be loving what Holtham's doing. The undefeated season continues. They're up 32-10 at half right now against Richland. Lake Highlands is up 21-17 on J.J. Pierce, a team that dropped a game last week to Duncanville, but J.J. Pierce has been really, really good this year. Lake Highlands, another rivalry game there, taking them to maybe a dark place, 21-17 up on J.J. Pierce. I don't think a lot of people thought that would happen. Richardson's up 20-7 on Berkner, an inter-rivalry there. Skyline 48-0 all over Molina, and that's really what we're looking at here in our non-highlighted 6A games, other than Duncanville. And Duncanville, a team that we don't talk about a lot because they're not in a very competitive district, but they are a really, really good team, and they're up 63-0 to W.T. White. So a team that, look, we're not going to feature Duncanville heavily in in-depth conversation because they're going to win, but this Duncanville Panther team and that defense is historically awesome.
Yeah, they're really, really good, and they clinch a playoff berth with a win tonight.
What's the number on that defense? They've given up 26 points all season?
Yeah,
something
all
like that.
year. And they haven't given
man.
up a point today either. And Rockwall's up 49-0 on Tyler Lee, another team that we have talked about a lot. Yeah. Explosive offense.
Yeah, explosive offense, and then the Orange Jackets, of course, is Eric
the Orange Jackets.
That's my squad right there.
Yeah. That's definitely a fun one to watch. Guys, let's go through some of these other games, but first we're going to take a quick little break. We are from the Star in Frisco, Texas. Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Glad you're with us for week 9 of the Texas high school football season. We'll run through some scores of our highlighted games. We'll go through 5A and 4A coming up in just a bit when we come back after the break.
Nothing works up my thirst for an ice-cold Pepsi Cola like getting buckets. Whether I'm breaking ankles or breaking hearts.
Hey, Drew.
It always brings the refreshment, and I've been drinking it a long time.
Drew, how old are you anyway?
Man.
Doesn't matter.
Uncle Drew, in theaters, June 29th. Future tastes good.
Hey football fans, check this out. It's called FanTag, the easiest way to get video highlights from all of your games. As a parent, I know the value of capturing our kids' special moments on video. FanTag makes it easy to relive a memory or share it with family, friends, and recruiters. Download the FanTag app, and on game day, find your event and get instant highlights delivered right to your phone. So never miss a moment. Try FanTag today. It's free.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the sweet and spicy bacon burger.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is my all-time favorite.
I love this burger. It's just perfect.
2 beef patties, 2 different types of cheese, caramelized onions. My favorite thing about this burger is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce and the bacon. You get it in every bite.
Nothing beats this.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is an all-time favorite at Whataburger.
That's happiness.
You want to bring the heat? Prove it. With carbs to help fuel muscles. And electrolytes to help replace what you lose in sweat. Studied, tested, proven. Nothing beats Gatorade.
On a forbidden Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Ramon, we can't.
But Julia,
We're rivals.
I can love you and still hate your overrated school.
We have 2 different defensive philosophies. You're a base 4-3 cover 2, and I'm an
aggressive 3-4 with press coverage. I get it, but we both love Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Ramon.
Touchdown, State!
Yes! In your face!
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Oh, what a sight. The 5 Lombardi trophies just outside our studios here from the Star in Frisco. Hopefully the Cowboys soon will add a 6th one. That would be fun to be a part of. And I know, Hek'ma, you're hoping for that. All of us Cowboys fan. Eric might be the biggest diehard Cowboys fan in the entire room. But with that being said.
Correct.
Yeah, you're a Dolphins fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a sad time.
With that being said, guys, there's a lot of receiver talent. Of course, we saw the Cowboys make a trade for Amari Cooper in the past week, and we mentioned that very briefly earlier when we were looking inside the locker room and whatnot. And there's a lot of receiver talent around the league, and a lot of that coming from Texas. Emmanuel Sanders, guys like that. Cole Beasley, of course, a Texas native playing with the Star on his helmet. And there are a lot of talented receivers kind of making their way up through the ranks. We talked about Theo Weiss, talked about some other receivers that have made some impacts. 2 of the players to watch tonight, both Eric and Zach, had receivers from Texas as their players to watch. Well, we've got a story here, and this is put together by Chance Williams, one of our outstanding crew members and one of our directors here for Friday Night Stars. And he has a chance, and he has a buddy named David Robinson that he's so lovingly calls him D-Rob, and is one of the best wide receiver trainers, not only in the state of Texas, but in the entire nation. This is a pretty cool little story, and we'll take a quick look.
I'm responsible probably for over 300 touchdowns in the NFL this year.
You see some people, they just do it for the money, but he really loves the wide receiver position. He's passionate about it.
When I'm getting up in the morning, I want to be remembered as one of the most successful people to ever do this training thing and leave a legacy doing this.
I always told him that it wasn't the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog.
The state of Texas is filled with plenty of talented wide receivers at the high school level, all of which are competing to be the best. Whether it's to move on to the next level or help get their team a victory, David Robinson has played a major factor in so many receivers finding success at the next level.
Man, if I had to do a rough estimate of guys I put into college, I would say probably over 200 kids that I've helped get into college. When it comes to NFL, I'm sure at least 50.
Many of the receivers that are fortunate enough to learn under his tutelage credit him for their success. One highly sought-after recruit said that Coach D-Rob took an early interest in him at a young age and gives full credit to Coach D-Rob for his offers.
When guys have a lot of success and they deliver their success towards me and things like that, and to me it's very humbling because they're the ones out there doing the work, they're the ones out there making the plays. I like really being behind the scenes.
While fans find satisfaction in watching a tall receiver tower over smaller defenders or a fast receiver who can run right past defenders, Coach D-Rob tends to focus on the minute details.
The focus when I'm training these wide receivers are body language, how well their footwork is, focus a lot on their hip mobility, focus a lot on their route running, and I just focus a lot on, just what it takes to get open.
Robinson has had the pleasure of working with a number of current NFL receivers and tight ends, but his personal favorite to work with is not Antonio Brown or Emmanuel Sanders.
One of my favorite players that I love to train is Keon Hatcher, NFL wide receiver. He plays for the Green Bay Packers. I push him to the limit. Every time we're in the workout, he's always pushing me. We always talking smack towards each other. So we have a lot of fun out there. So that's one of the guys that I like, training.
So many young athletes credit Robinson for their success. One thing that Robinson seemed unaware of was how much his protégés respected him. Many of them will say Robinson seems more interested in them as individuals and that in turn they feel compelled to succeed.
When I see all my players having success, I feel like a proud dad or something like that. It's very gratifying to see the hard work that these guys put in behind the scenes and for it to come to light on national TV on the big stage.
While D-Rob and his players give each other the admiration and respect like parents and their children, it comes as no surprise that this wide receiver godfather won't hold back when discussing the players for fans to keep an eye on.
Some of my high school receivers out there, up-and-coming guys that people they need to know about. Jace Medlock at DeSoto High School, Theo Weiss at Allen High School, Austin Stogner at Prestonwood, Trajan Bridges at Hebron, Kobe Cavill at Bishop Dunn, Gene Wilson at First Baptist Academy. You really have to love more than just the games and scoring touchdowns. You really have to love the grind, putting in the extra work. If you want to be an effective wide receiver, if you're a young up-and-coming receiver, you have to love catching footballs every single day because it's a skill. It's something just like basketball players. They shoot and work on their game or their shots every single day. Wideouts, you have to work on your hand-eye coordination every single day. You can't just do it seasonal if you want to be an elite wideout.
One of the biggest things that I noticed while watching that piece, first off, great job, Chance Williams. His first ever package. That was a debut for Chance Williams.
Unbelievable.
Set the bar very high.
Chance.
Come on, Chance.
He nailed it. But one of the biggest things is we were sitting there and he was just naming off names. And he didn't even mention 3 or 4 names that were on the screen. Cam Brown from
Colleyville.
From Colleyville. Yeah, just a lot of players like that. He said Stogner from Prestonwood, who we're watching. Theo Weiss, who we've mentioned. He is, what did you call it, Hek'ma?
He has all the dogs.
Calling all the dogs.
He has all the
Trajan
dogs.
Bridges.
Trajan Bridges.
If you're good,
he
David
got
Robinson's
he's coaching.
He's teaching you how to play receiver.
One of the things I want to tell you about, guys, that the facility that he coaches out of is in Southeast Dallas, and he does a good job of letting those kids come in and giving free clinics to kids. So many of these clinics in the Dallas, all around, our coaching clinics are so much money. A lot of these parents can't afford them. D-Rob does a good job of getting guys in. He does a great job with the kids at Lincoln High School. Hadn't worked out yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there, D-Rob. I got you. But this guy is awesome, man. And what he's doing, it's everyone knows about it, and his reputation speaks for itself.
Yeah, I think just all the former players and current guys that he's working with now that just show all the admiration and respect that they have for him speaks volumes for him. Especially guys, Antonio Brown, Emmanuel Sanders. They're in the league. They can act like they were the only ones that, they put in all the work, they did everything, but they look back and say, no, this guy really was a key reason why I am where I am today, on and off the field, and that's a really, really cool deal. And at a receiver position that now is becoming really almost one of the more premium positions in football, throughout football history.
Especially
receivers,
with the spread,
it wasn't,
right? It's that new spread offense.
Exactly.
Everybody's throwing the ball around.
Yeah, and now receivers, everybody wants to be a receiver. It used to be the golden age was running back. Everybody wants to be a running back. Now it's like, no, if you're an athlete, let's go be a receiver.
Yeah.
And there's so many good ones now. We talk about quarterbacks in the area. We got a ton of great receivers in the area.
Yeah, you talk about really this shifting of the thought process of a running back and a receiver. One guy that comes to mind, Jalen Hurd, who's at Baylor right now, was a running back in the SEC for Tennessee, switched to wide receiver because the shelf life is just better. So that definitely is a shifting, and Coach D-Rob doing an outstanding job, like you said, Hek'ma, of not only looking at really stature or anything outside of the athleticism, but just the player as a whole, and being able to go down and see that these kids are talented, and that's a lot of fun to watch. But let's look at some of the guys that he may be coaching up and training at the wide receiver level. Let's go through some of the highlighted games that we have here for Week 9 of Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Starting with the 4A level, Argyle was up big early on Melissa, and since then Melissa has kind of fought back a little bit, but Argyle's still up on top in this one, Zach.
Yeah, Argyle is up 55-21. I mean, they've now tacked on a couple of extra touchdowns here late, and it happened in a flurry. 48-21. They're up now, but this was one close teams battling it out, but Argyle just showing why they are the cream of the crop in 4A. I mean, this is Melissa's squad coming in. We talked about it. A lot of talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball, but Argyle has just done it through the air today. 359 yards passing. They've been absolutely outstanding. Now, I do have an update on a game that we haven't featured as a highlighted game, but it's just one of the better games because we do have several blowouts going on right now. So, I mean, if we want to focus on some of the games that are a little bit closer throughout the scoreboard, but McKinney and Plano East, and we were just talking about that district. Yeah. That game might be headed to overtime. It's tied at 35 right now, late in the fourth quarter. East just had to punt the football, so McKinney's got it deep in their own territory. I'd expect them most likely to just kind of play for overtime here, but that's a game we got to monitor because all of a sudden McKinney, they get a big win. They're now in the playoff hunt, which is crazy, and Plano East is in danger of maybe missing the playoffs completely, which no one would have thought about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. Ever since they lost that game to Allen, they have just not looked the same. Of course, we talked about the blowout to Plano, and now they're looking like, and that's a McKinney team that kind of snuck up on some teams. They snuck up on Plano, the Wildcats, a couple weeks ago after not having a win, and they've been playing well as of late. So I'm not super surprised at that scoreline as of right now, but even at the same time, you don't necessarily think about Plano East being a team that could miss the playoffs.
No, Kyle, I got one
Absolutely
for you.
Crazy.
I tell you what, man, Lovejoy wasn't showing a lot of love to Lake Dallas, but Lake Dallas came back in this game. Lovejoy's still up 31. It's 31-27 now. Your guy Depperschmidt must have heard you, man, because he came out in the second half and had 130 yards on the ground, 168 yards in the air with 2 touchdowns. Man, this is a closer game than you think. 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. This is a good one.
Well, and credit to the Lake Dallas defense for shutting out Lovejoy in the second half after a great first half offensively for Lovejoy.
And we'll hit that one here in a minute as well. Maybe we'll have some highlights, maybe an update from Mallory Hartley as well. But we'll talk about that here in a second, and maybe that game will be even closer to concluding. 31-27, Lovejoy up right now. Bishop Lynch and Bishop Dunn, the battle of the Bishops, 21-13. Bishop Dunn has a lead here late in the fourth quarter, I should say, underneath 6 minutes to play. And once again, that rushing attack from Dunn getting it done. But Bishop Lynch not out of it yet. This is a team that could strike in a hurry, and if they have a little bit of time left in the football, which, by the way, they do right now, driving on the Dunn 25-yard line, this game could either be tied up or close to being tied up here in the next coming minutes.
I tell you what, Lynch is one of those teams that always stays in the game. Last week against Parish Episcopal, it looked like they were getting blown out, and then in the fourth quarter, they come right back. They're doing the same thing tonight. But look, come on, guys. Dunn has all of the athletes. They should be up by more. They should be kicking themselves right now. But Simeon Evans, quarterback for Dunn, is doing everything for these guys in the air and on the ground.
It's a daunting task for Lynch to drive down the field, not only get a touchdown, but a 2-point conversion against that Dunn defense. That's a lot to ask out of Bishop Lynch, but a great job for them to at least hang in the game, like you mentioned.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they've got a crucial 3rd and 7 coming up from the 22-yard line of Bishop Dunn. Bishop Lynch with the football. We'll give you an update on that here in just a moment. Cedar Hill, South Grand Prairie. We talked about the incredible at least district scenario of this district with 5 teams all at 3-1. 2 of those teams facing each other right now. And at the moment, the Longhorns leading South Grand Prairie 16-7 is the score in the Gopher Warrior Bowl. And this is really just a tough matchup. South Grand Prairie definitely not out of it yet, though.
No, and it wasn't for a recent Cedar Hill touchdown pass from Shane Lawrence, then this game was a 9-7 ball game going into the fourth quarter. And Cedar Hills had just big plays. They had the one big play earlier in the game, the 99-yard touchdown pass, and then now they have like a 40 or 50-yard touchdown pass to get their second touchdown of the game. If it wasn't for those 2 big plays, South Grand Prairie's looking at themselves like, wow, man, this would be a 7-3 game right now if it wasn't for 2 plays. So South Grand Prairie really showed up. We know they have a good defense, a lot of speed on that defense. But, man, Cedar Hill, even if they struggle, they did struggle in the first half. They only had the one big play. Even in the second half now, only one big play. But when you have stars like Shane Lawrence and Zachary Franklin, you can do those kinds of things. And those big plays, that's working for Cedar Hill right now. Man, 2 plays in this game changes everything. Credit to Cedar Hill for doing it, though.
Yeah, that Longhorn defense, man, they came to play today. We talk a lot about Shane Lawrence and that Longhorn O, but their defense has a lot of talent on that side of the football as well. South Grand Prairie, though, with the football, they're driving near midfield, trying to cut into that lead and make a late fourth quarter rally.
Quick update on that Bishop Lynch 3rd and 7. You talked about it, Hek'ma. The athletes on the Bishop Dunn side of the football defensively get it done, a sack. -8 yards. It's 4th and 15. Bishop Lynch forced to call a timeout underneath 3.5 minutes to play. They've got a 4th and 15 upcoming. That could be the ball game. Only one timeout remaining for Bishop Lynch and the Friars. So if Bishop Dunn gets a stop on 4th and 15, they'll wrap up this ball game and end up improving and winning their third straight game after beating Parish Episcopal and John Paul II.
Yeah, Brian Williams and company for the Dunn defense. These guys are
dude, it's a freaking nature. I mean, he single-handedly won a game earlier in the year, and it is going to overtime. Plano East and McKinney tied at 35, so extra football happening down in McKinney.
Wow, just an outstanding really slate of football games. And guys, we're going to get to some of these later on, but first, a quick 3-minute break here. For Whataburger Friday Night Stars, we're going to regroup. We're going to look at some of these games, look through some of the live scores, and when we come back, we're going to look at some of the potential game-winning drives from some of these highlighted games when we come back here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the sweet and spicy bacon burger.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is my all-time favorite.
I love this burger. It's just perfect.
2 beef patties, 2 different types of cheese, caramelized onions. My favorite thing about this burger is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce and the bacon. You get it in every bite.
Nothing beats this.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is an all-time favorite at Whataburger.
That's happiness.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
Hey football fans, check this out. It's called FanTag, the easiest way to get video highlights from all of your games. As a parent, I know the value of capturing our kids' special moments on video. FanTag makes it easy to relive a memory or share it with family, friends, and recruiters. Download the FanTag app, and on game day, find your event and get instant highlights delivered right to your phone. So never miss a moment. Try FanTag today. It's free.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in-store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
In a world where a young family embarks on an incredible journey, a son gets lost in an epic film. A father wills his team to victory, while a mother tries to talk to her daughter, who is posting online at a rate she has never seen until now. With high-speed Wi-Fi, free live TV and movies, there's something for everyone. Download the American app, and the best in entertainment travels with you.
Whataburger Friday Night Stars back here from the Star in Frisco, and FanTag has done it again on the FanTag Cam. How about this one? A crucial matchup between two foes inside Keller ISD. How about Keller Fossil Ridge and Keller Timber Creek? Game-winning field goal to clinch it for Fossil Ridge, and the Panthers storm the field as time expires. They trailed 19-17, and they win it in a game where earlier Fossil Ridge looked like they were down and out. Timber Creek and the Falcons had a lead, but the Panthers fight back, and they roared a victory after a field goal to win it off the foot of Eduardo Mercado. 30 yards, knocks it through, and an incredible finish to that football game and a big-time win for Fossil Ridge. If you're Timber Creek, you're up a creek without a paddle right now because they've got a lot of work to do in that district. But Fossil Ridge, a big-time win, 20-19.
Yeah, Fossil Ridge, man. We were down on them at halftime, down to 16-3. Then they come out, have an explosive third quarter, have 2 touchdown passes from the guy that, again, I don't know if Scotty Colas, the starting quarterback for Fossil Ridge, got benched or if he got injured or what in the first half. He wasn't playing well. Fossil Ridge wasn't playing well offensively. They put in Austin Stolman. He comes in. He goes 5 for 7, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns, both of them in the third quarter. And then your boy Eddie comes in there and kicks the game winner. And now we might have a quarterback competition.
No, it's no competition. He's your guy.
He's your guy now.
He should be the guy.
That's it, man. Well, Scotty Colas has had a heck of a season. So I don't know if he's injured, whatever, but it's a shame because that Fossil Ridge team we were high on coming in haven't been able to run the ball. In the first half, they couldn't throw it until Austin Stolman comes in. They do it. They win the game-winning field goal. What a great night to be a Fossil Ridge Panther. What a tale of two halves there.
Yeah, it really was. And you talked about how earlier we were saying they just couldn't move the football. That's a team that, as an offense, looked stagnant, didn't have anything going in any direction for them. And because of that, it just didn't look like they were going to end up winning this football game the way that Timber Creek kind of hopped up on them earlier, led 16-3. But Fossil Ridge storms back, and with that win, they now improved to 3-2 in District 5-6A play. They are still in playoff position over Northwest Eaton. Keller Timber Creek now falls to 1-4. They're at the bottom of the district. So that's how quickly that could have turned around for Keller Timber Creek. If they would have won, they would have actually leapfrogged both Eaton and Fossil Ridge and would have been in the 4th spot in that district. And now they're at the bottom, and it looks like they may be just done for playoff hopes. Guys, a lot of close games around the area. We've got about 10 minutes before we take our final break of the regular show and then move into the overtime segment, which we're really excited about. We'll get some call-ins. We'll talk to some reporters and announcers from around the area. A lot of these games going down to the wire. One game I do want to check up on, and Hek'ma, I know you've been keeping your pulse on this one. Flower Mound to Flower Mound. Marcus, early in this game, Flower Mound looked really, really strong and got off to a quick start, but now they continue to lead it. Marcus, is there any fight in the Marauders tonight?
Very little. It seems like they checked it in pretty early, and that's unfortunate because a lot of these teams have a lot of seniors on them. Some of these guys are not going to play another down of football, so you hate to see seasons end like that because they definitely want to have an opportunity to play in the playoffs. But look, man, Blake Short gave them every reason to quit in the first half. Besides that, Pierce Hudgens did work on the ground. Right now, this score is 59-21. Flower Mound.
The rushing disparity.
And look, they got this trophy. They got this trophy. It's a big mound, right? So I think that the mound.
Also, it's a trophy. It's not just a mound of dirt.
Well, I don't know how they have it placed because I haven't seen it with my own eyes.
It's a dirt mound.
But I hear it. It's not the most aesthetic thing that you've ever seen.
Well, it's dirt,
but it's meaningful.
Right.
That's what matters. It's
exactly. So the mound is already on Flower Mound side. Okay, so they've taken care of that.
Negative 15 yards rushing for Marcus.
That's unbelievable.
Nobody expected that because especially Dinka having the type of year that he's had, no one would have expected that.
Yeah, that's tough to look at. And man, Flower Mound for the first time since 2010
with this win, clinches a playoff spot. They have one of the longest droughts in all of North Texas, and they're going to end that drought
time, right?
this season. It is about time. It's been far too long. They were 5th in that district last year on the outside looking in. They finally get over the hump, and they're able to get over the mound.
Yeah,
How
right.
about that?
Get over the mound. Wow. There you go.
You get
I
over
see
the
what you're doing there.
mound and are able to push their way into the playoffs. Another team, Cedar Hill. We go from mounds to hills. Cedar Hill and the Longhorns up 16-3 over South Grand Prairie and the or 16-7 rather over South Grand Prairie and the Warriors. The Warriors have the football here, but they are starting on their own 20-yard line and are already on a 4th and 8 right now. Cedar Hill and that defense standing strong currently.
Yeah, man, and for South Grand Prairie right now, you're down 9 points, and Cedar Hill knows exactly what you got to do. You got to pass the ball to get out of this. You got to go try to win the game. Cedar Hill's pinning their ears back right now, and that's a Cedar Hill defense that, as Walchuk said, doesn't get enough credit. Only giving up like 12 points a game, less than 200 yards per game. So that Cedar Hill defense has been awesome. Fortunately, they had 2 big offensive plays, one in the first half, one in the second half, that allowed them to get the victory. South Grand Prairie's got to be proud of themselves tonight, defensively in particular, but there's no way they're coming down and scoring on this Cedar Hill defense right now.
And that's one thing that we looked at Cedar Hill-wise. Were they going to be able to respond after Summit beat them 7-3 in a defensive-minded football game? Of course, it was almost a foot deep in water whenever they were playing that game. So a little bit of an asterisk there, but the offense didn't necessarily show up after putting up 78 points the week before, and they've at least gotten 16 on the board here.
And you bring up a good point about the weather and its impact on a lot of these districts. So many teams with the great skill positions and great quarterbacks not being able to get those completions, during the torrential rainpours that we've had on Fridays here. So a lot of these teams that you see that may be out of the playoffs would have been teams that would have gone easily had they played in good weather conditions. But that's the game of football. Yep. The elements are a part of it.
And a couple of games have now gone final from our non-highlighted games that ended up being really, really close in overtime. Plano East holds on to beat McKinney 42-35. Brandon Mallory hit a 6-yard touchdown pass to John Allison. McKinney got the ball back. They were driving. They tried to tie this game in OT, and it didn't happen. Kelvin Thomas got stuffed. Plano East defense stands. And then over with Trophy Club Byron Nelson, who gave a scare to Keller tonight, a game that a lot of people thought, all right, Keller, they should roll all over Trophy Club Byron Nelson. Didn't happen. 36-34. Carroll recovers the onside kick after a Byron Nelson touchdown with 30 seconds to play. They go for the elusive onside kick. They just failed to recover it. So Keller going to hold on and get a mega win there. But 2 big games. Plano East and Keller, 2 teams we probably didn't think would be in trouble coming into tonight, almost dropped pivotal district games.
Yeah, pivotal district games, and there's a lot of pivotal district games, one of which we talked about earlier in the Mansfield district. That's kind of just been a cluster all season long. How about Mansfield and the Tigers? They were up early against Mansfield Lake Ridge. They were leading that game by double digits. Lake Ridge storms back, and they now lead that football game 37-30 with 5:49 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Wow, with no Chandler Rogers.
No Chandler Rogers.
Yeah, Lake Ridge remembers who they are. I mean, they're the better team.
But doing it without your starting quarterback is always going to be impressive to me.
Adrian Hawkins has come in, the junior backup quarterback for Mansfield Lake Ridge. 205 yards on 13 completions, 3 touchdowns. And you look at, he's spread out the ball a little bit. He hasn't thrown it to one guy.
Way to go, young fella, man. Those are big shoes to fill. You step in. Your team's been, your season's been good.
That's big time.
You don't want to lose it for your squad. Way to go.
Yeah, definitely so. And then you have Mansfield with the ball right now, trailing by 7. They have a 3rd and 13 upcoming, so not necessarily going in their way. We'll stick in that district a little bit. Mansfield Summit, a team that I picked earlier and that were tied at 14 all at halftime. That game is not even just barely past the halfway point in the third quarter, and it's safe to say that my pick is probably going to be wrong, guys.
Yeah, like I said, man, DeSoto was going to walk it off. I mean, that's just what it is.
You did. You said,
34-14
they'll come out in that second half
right
and take care of business, and they certainly have.
34-14.
Oh, my goodness, guys.
Oh, gosh.
What?
I was mistaken.
Why?
McKinney had a 4th and 14. I thought the game was over in overtime. They scored on it.
Oh my!
No.
They scored on it to tie it at 42.
No.
The game
Double
is
OT?
not over. The game is not over. McKinney is still alive. It was a Trey Pearson
Was that a
29-yard
premature?
touchdown
Is that
on 4th and 14. It seemed to me that the game was over, but instead it is tied now at 42.
Wow.
McKinney pulling a rabbit out of the
Unbelievable.
hat to stay alive.
You mean the head?
Out of the head. Yeah, sorry, Jason Witten. And this one is going
wow.
to double
Holy
overtime.
smokes,
My
Plano
goodness gracious.
East.
The game that just won't ever end.
I'd expect you doing that for a Plano, like a premature Plano win, but you did it for Plano East. I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, I
a
know.
little bit.
What can I
Yeah,
say?
Plano East.
Trying to give them a victory before they had it.
Yeah.
McKinney, though, man, that's a scrappy team.
Crazy. And now they're going to get the ball here to start the second overtime. So,
Yeah.
woof.
2 overtimes. We'll keep you updated on that one. Any other scores right now, guys, sticking out to you? 66-7, Allen over McKinney Boyd. That's one that we kind of expected, but anything else that's kind of surprising?
Look, Battle of the Red Rail, man. Grapevine is up 38-20 over Colleyville. Like I said, man, Colleyville would come out in the second half and make some adjustments. They did. They got a score, but still down by a couple possessions. And, you know, this is one of those games where I believe that Cam Brown went out of the game.
Yep.
So you look at the weapons that Colleyville has, and you ask yourself, who's going to be the guy to take the helm to get them over the hump in this one?
They've been beat up coming into this game. You know, even guys that were playing, they've been beat up, and to lose your best player in Cam Brown in what is probably the biggest game of the season for a lot of these guys, it's a shame for Colleyville Heritage. But credit to Grapevine, they continue to put up a lot of points. That game against Denton Ryan, is that next week? Or?
Yes,
Oh
it's next week.
Wow, it's gonna be a fun one.
And
That
that's
is gonna
finally
be a
a
fun
game
one.
maybe we'll see Ryan get tested, but absolutely. I mean, a game for Colleyville Heritage where you really need Cam Brown because you're fighting back from a multiple score deficit. and he's
Gotta
not
have
there for
points.
you.
You need a ton of
I know.
points, and your best guys out.
That's a big bummer for Colleyville.
I do have a final score from Lucas as Lovejoy and the Leopards win it 31-27. They were shut out the entire second half.
They find a way
by
to hold
Lake
on,
Dallas, and Lake Dallas put up 13 points in the final 2 quarters, had 14 in the second quarter as well. But Lovejoy and the Leopards hold on just barely in order to hold on for the victory and win that one at home, as Lovejoy now improves to 6-1 on the season, surviving a furious comeback. But guys, that's going to do it for the first 3 hours of Whataburger Friday Night Stars. We've talked about players to watch. We've talked about the D-Rob segment of wide receivers and training in the area. Chance Williams doing a great job there. We've gone over a ton of things, but really it's all about overtime. Much like McKinney in Plano East right now, we're going to go to overtime. It's not double overtime yet, but overtime, we're going to run down the scores. We're going to reset, talk about some of these matchups around the North Texas area, and we're going to give you everything you need to know in the next hour about Week 9 of the Texas high school football season. It's the last week of October. We're heading into November, and
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the sweet and spicy bacon burger.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is my all-time favorite.
I love this burger. It's just perfect.
2 beef patties, 2 different types of cheese, caramelized onions. My favorite thing about this burger is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce and the bacon. You get it in every bite.
Nothing beats this.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is an all-time favorite at Whataburger.
That's happiness.
Little ideas, can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
You want to bring the heat? Prove it. With carbs to help fuel muscles. And electrolytes to help replace what you lose in sweat. Studied, tested, proven. Nothing beats Gatorade.
On a forbidden Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Ramon, we can't.
But Julia,
We're rivals.
I can love you and still hate your overrated school.
We have two different defensive philosophies. You're a base 4-3 cover 2, and I'm an
aggressive 3-4 with press coverage. I get it, but we both love Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Ramon.
Touchdown, State!
Yes! In your face!
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Hey football fans, check this out. It's called FanTag, the easiest way to get video highlights from all of your games. As a parent, I know the value of capturing our kids' special moments on video. FanTag makes it easy to relive a memory or share it with family, friends, and recruiters. Download the FanTag app, and on game day, find your event and get instant highlights delivered right to your phone. So never miss a moment. Try FanTag today. It's free.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
In a world where a young family embarks on an incredible journey, a son gets lost in an epic film. A father wills his team to victory, while a mother tries to talk to her daughter, who is posting online at a rate she has never seen until now. With high-speed Wi-Fi, free live TV and movies, there's something for everyone. Download the American app, and the best in entertainment travels with you.
This is Whataburger Friday Night Stars, presented by Game On Sports, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, and the Dallas Cowboys headquarters. Here's Kyle Yeomans, Zach Walchuk, Eric Chiafalo, and Hek'ma Harrison.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Star in Frisco, Texas. Whataburger Friday Night Stars, live from the Dallas Cowboys headquarters. And tonight it's the headquarters for Texas high school football. Glad you're with us. As the fancy VO announcer man said, I'm Kyle Yeomans alongside Hek'ma Harrison, Zach Walchuk, and the great Eric Chiafalo.
Let's get it going.
Let's go.
We've had an outstanding night of high school football
Kyle,
throughout
can I
the
give
area.
you one update before you start just rolling down
my
what we got?
goodness.
Because this is a game that we don't have as a highlighted game, so
Okay.
we're probably not going to get to it otherwise.
Feed me.
And it
Tell
was
me
a
about
double overtime barn burner in McKinney, and Plano East has won it, 45-42.
Are you sure this time?
100%.
Nice.
Nobody knew that. This is overtime, 45-42 in double overtime. Plano East knocks off McKinney, a big win for the Panthers to avoid a 3-game slide in that district. It was Angel Martinez's 39-yard field goal that did it. Their defense got a stop on McKinney in their opening drive. They kicked the field goal to win it, that 39-yarder. So a big win for Plano East to still sit comfortably in third right now in District 9.
Couple of game-winning field goals tonight, huh?
Yeah, a couple game-winning field goals. We'll get to one of those here in just a moment. But yeah, Plano East with a big-time win. They're now 3-2 in District 9 6A play. And like you said, avoiding a 3-game losing streak after starting the season undefeated. And once they played Allen, things kind of went off the rails a little bit. We'll talk about the Red Rail rivalry coming up in a little bit as well. But like you mentioned, and you kind of alluded to just a moment ago, Eric, a game-winning field goal of the sorts.
Caden Davis?
Not Caden Davis.
Oh, it's not Caden
Davis. Another kicker not named.
I am surprised.
I didn't know there were
not.
other kickers out there.
But we are going to go to the Fan Tag Cam as a little bit of a prelude to our recap of this battle in Keller. Keller Fossil Ridge from 30 yards out wins it as they were down by 2, 20-19. Keller Fossil Ridge over Keller Timber Creek. Timber Creek led this game earlier, 16-3 was the score, and well, they get it done. The huge comeback. Second half was all Eric, like you talked about.
It was all Eric in that second.
It was all me.
He
Eric,
willed
like you talked
Fossil
about,
Ridge to victory.
It was that extra really jolt from a quarterback change for Fossil Ridge.
Yeah, man, and the first half was real downer for Fossil Ridge, offensively in particular. They only put up 3 points, so I don't know. Again, we'll have to find out when we call a reporter here in just a second. But at halftime, they go in with Scotty Colas as their quarterback. They come out with my man, Austin Stolman. And he comes out there, 92 yards, goes 5 for 7, 2 touchdown passes in the third quarter, which really propelled this team to make it a field goal game. So credit to Stolman, credit to Fossil Ridge, great comeback.
Yeah, and what an atmosphere that must have been in a crucial district game. And we've got Luke Trujillo on the line. Luke, thanks so much for joining us again here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. We're looking at some of your footage right now. That atmosphere tonight, Luke, was incredible, but mostly this game-winning field goal. Tell us about what happened ensuing that game-winning shot.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. So Fossil Ridge just really drained that clock out to end that game to make sure that they had that final field goal. They were just running the ball hard-nosed down the middle, barely passing it, but it was just a hard-nosed drive to just seal the game at the end.
Luke, talk to me about the quarterback situation with Fossil Ridge. Obviously, we know they struggled in the first half, and Scotty Colas has been their guy all year. He's been pretty good for him at quarterback. Did he get hurt? What happened? Because in the second half, Austin Stolman comes out, puts together a great performance, comeback victory. What did Colas get pulled, or did he get injured?
Colas, he was just, I think they just pulled him just because of his inaccuracy in the first half, overthrowing or underthrowing. But, Stallman was actually my key player to watch in the game before the game started. He has a crazy arm out there, and it was great to see them come back at the end of the game. It was a completely different game in the second half, and I know it was because of the quarterback play for sure.
Hey, Luke, this is Hek'ma here, man. I got a question for you. How did Timber Creek lose this game? They had it won. How did they let them off the hook in the second half?
You know, the first half, they were using their big physical wide receivers, and in the second half, they were not throwing it to them anymore. I don't know why. Number 7 is a good running back for Timber Creek, but he just wasn't getting it done the way they needed to, and the receivers, I guess, just weren't open in the second half, and Fossil Ridge just took advantage of that.
Yeah, definitely. So Luke Trujillo on the line from Fossil Ridge as Fossil Ridge wins it 20-19. Luke, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again next week, buddy.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
You know, it sounds like Timber Creek may have got a little bit stiff in the second half, a little bit conservative. We know coming into the game, Blake Irving, that running back, that rushing attack is what they live on, and maybe they just went to it a little bit too much, got a little conservative, thought they could have the lead, run it out.
They went to prevent in third quarter.
Maybe they did, but I think the better team won in this one, right?
Yeah.
They needed enough spark alert for that coaching staff to say, you know what, we're going to go ahead and make that quarterback change. They did it. It led them to victory.
Stolman, what a night.
Yeah, what a night for Stolman, and Fossil Ridge gets a close victory. Let's go into some of these highlighted games. Argyle and Melissa. This is a matchup in 7-4A. Coming into it, Argyle undefeated. Melissa coming off of a big win last week against Salina. Well, Argyle flexes their muscle again. This first Friday final for you here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Argyle with over 620 yards total offense. My goodness, the Eagles are back at it again.
Yeah, and they're going for it. Probably going to get their 10th straight district championship coming into this one. And these were the two of the top three teams in the area in 4A. So you look at this score, and it's not like Argyle played some slouch in Melissa. This was a team in Brendan Lewis at quarterback for Melissa, who's a TCU commit, and this Argyle D shut him down through the air. Only 102 yards, did have a touchdown, and on the grounds where Lewis has been doing a lot of his damage, only 47 yards. So give Bo Hogaboon a lot of love at quarterback for Argyle. 4 touchdown passes, about 360 yards passing. And then Tito Bice, that's been the 1-2 punch. 188 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Argyle keeps rolling, man.
Argyle's honking good because Melissa has been good this year. The 2 games they lost by 7 points or less.
Yeah.
Argyle goes out and wins by 30.
Argyle's got to be a favorite in 4A, no doubt about it.
Oh, with an
number
impressive win like this,
man. They are awesome.
You've got to look at them and see them in that number 1 spot again. Now at 8-0. How about Bishop Lynch and Bishop Dunn? Bishop Lynch had the ball late in this ball game. Bishop Dunn leading the majority of the game, but late in the game, a big-time sack and a stop on 4th and 15 powers Bishop Dunn, and the Falcons win this one 21-13, guys.
Every time we talk about Bishop Lynch, it's almost win, and they're just right there. And it's got to be a sickening way to go through your season for the Friars, but that's just the way that it is. I mean, Bishop Dunn has all the athletes, guys. Simeon Evans has done everything for the Dunn offense today, basically throwing for 138 yards and also running for 2 touchdowns. The kid was basically unstoppable. And also Jaden Hullaby had a good showing tonight on 84 yards on 21 carries. But it's all about the Dunn defense holding Bishop Lynch to under 100 yards rushing and receiving.
Yeah, outstanding day for Bishop Dunn defensively, and that's really their bread and butter right there. And I can't wait, man. In 2 weeks, they go on the road to take on that Prestonwood Christian Academy offense with Dylan Cadwallader, man. Woo! That is a matchup to wait for in the season finale. That defense against that offense.
Oh, we're going to talk about that Prestonwood team here in just a little bit, too, because they were impressive tonight against Parrish. And we're going to skip over Cedar Hill, South Grand Prairie just for a quick moment. We're going to look at Flower Mound and Flower Mound Marcus. These are 2 teams that we talked about earlier in the original show, the battle for the Mound Showdown. Well, it wasn't much of a showdown, and for the first time since 2010, Flower Mound and the Jags clinch a playoff spot.
Let's give a round of applause.
Outstanding.
For the Jags,
That's awesome.
man.
And
that is awesome.
The way they did it, though, over 670 yards. They almost tapped 700 yards of total offense in this win.
Yeah, Blake Short is balling, guys. He is having a phenomenal season. And again, guys, when you look at the DFW area, there are so many great quarterbacks that we have in the city. You can't just point to one and say, this guy is better than that guy. Everybody brings something different, but Blake Short is definitely playing out of his mind this year. He is one of the reasons why Flower Mound is having the success that they're having, but also Pierce Hudgens. Guys, this is another kid, 297 yards 297 yards. I need my glasses. 297 yards.
Holy cow, they almost 700 of total offense.
297 yards. 5 touchdowns for Pierce Hudgens. He could not be stopped tonight. I mean, look, guys, applause is in order for Flower Mound because they went out and they took it to the Marauders tonight.
And they've proven they're the real deal, and I think you got to give credit to that rush defense from Flower Mound. The Jags shutting down Justin Dinka, 9 carries, 14 yards, and they took Marcus out of that game plan. They're forced to put the ball in the air to try and come back. great all-around team win for Flower Mound.
Yeah, all-around team win and an impressive win. The 7 yards stands out, but also the 700 almost yards total offense definitely stands out either way.
Well, and that 7 yards rushing was like negative 10 yards rushing for a lot of that game, and then they ended up getting into the positive favor there. But still, yeah, like you mentioned, Walchuk shutting down Justin Dinkin in that rushing attack is a tough thing to do. And I guess the mound showdown goes to Marcus.
Here's
to
your mound, Flower Mound.
They get over the mound and are able to get into playoffs for the first time.
And then they get to claim the mound as theirs.
Yeah.
How fun is that? How fun is that?
To sit on the mound in all of its glory.
It's a whole thing. How about Frisco Lone Star and Frisco Centennial, a matchup in 5A Division I, and this is really what we looked at earlier as a chance for Frisco Lone Star to separate themselves in that district, and they do just that. Usually the defense is the star for Frisco and the Lone Star, but tonight, not the case. 48 points put up by the Lone Star Rangers, and they are impressive again after a tight loss last week.
And I think that was one, I talked about it. I thought that Lone Star would have that offensive explosion. The way that they lost on that hook and ladder to the Colony last week, they were going to come back with something to prove, and it all started early. Marvin Mims is the guy for Lone Star. He's Julian Larry's favorite target. He'd been really kept quiet for the last few weeks, and he broke out today. 6 catches, 230 yards, 4 touchdowns for Marvin Mims, and Julian Larry finally that big day through the air. 5 touchdown passes, over 300 yards passing. This was what Lone Star needed to get back on track and be that 5A power that many of us thought that they would be.
Yeah, more than anything, when you have a great defense, the thing that complements a great defense is a great running game. Look at that, man, 158 yards on the ground. They did it. If they can stay with this formula, guys, they're going to be hard to beat because that defense doesn't give up anything.
No, Absolutely. Not at all. I mean, held Highland Park, who's probably the most explosive offense in 5A, to just 10 points is incredible how good that defense is.
Yeah, they are extremely, extremely incredible. But you look on the other side, the team that beat them last week, the Colony, sitting at 6-1, and they are in the driver's seat for District 5A. Lone Star trying to chase the Colony. Well, the Colony had another tough test this week against Frisco Wakeland, and we got a chance to look at the couple of these games earlier. And you look at the Colony rolling out against Frisco Wakeland, and they end up getting the victory over Wakeland in this ball game. And once again, the Colony just continued to roll. 42-17, the final score from this one.
Yeah, man, the Colony, we said it coming in from an emotional win over Lone Star on basically the final play of the game last week, hook and ladder. And then you come in here tonight against a Frisco Wakeland team who's, they're a little bit limited offensively. We know they lost their quarterback to Preston Wood, so they've been kind of trying to figure it out. They're a good, rushing team. They need to run the ball with their 2 backs.
But they were coming off a big win against Independence last week, who's a playoff team.
Absolutely. So Wakeland's certainly not a pushover team by any means, but the Colony, and they kept it close at halftime. It was only 14-7. Colony was up by a touchdown at the half, and then they kind of just blew the doors off the thing in the fourth quarter, 21 points, and they end up racking up 505 yards of total offense, and we know they average 49 points a game at home. They put up 42 today, and that's really just because of a semi-slow start to the first half. But way to close the game for the Colony, and this is a team to be reckoned with, man. That 3-headed monster offensively with Mikey Harrington at quarterback, Jaden Abdallah at running back, and Miles Price. Miles Price had himself a night tonight like he seems to always do. That's just going to be a really, really tough team to beat when you think about the balance that they have with the explosive offense. And not only that, but they can pass and run the ball, so they're balanced offensively, but they're balanced as a team because they also have a great defense.
Yeah,
so
and Miles Price is the man. I mean, that dude, 159 total yards, 2 scores. He might be the best player in that district, and that includes all the talent on Frisco Lone Star.
That's something to say.
Offensively, Miles Price is the real deal, man. He's a problem for defenses out there.
Yeah, Miles Price, the real deal. But what about Trajan Bridges?
Trajan Bridges.
Man, from
the David
Hawks.
Robinson school, right?
Yeah, David Robinson, of course. We talked about that earlier as well. A wide receiver trainer, Trajan Bridges, one of those many wide receivers. 24-17. Hebron and the Hawks win this one over Irving, MacArthur, and the Cardinals. Once again, Hebron, just another close game for the Hawks. It seems like they can never get a runaway victory.
No, absolutely. This team's been in tight ones left and right. Fortunately, they come out on top on this one. And Carson Harris at quarterback, he ran for a bunch, he threw for a bunch, and this was a defensive game here. I mean, MacArthur, we knew coming into the game they've depended on their defense all season long, and they stayed true tonight. Even in their losses, they only give up 24 points on average, and it's just a shame because the offense just struggles to get going. They can run the ball a little bit, but through the air they struggle, and they even did a good job against Trajan Bridges today. They kept him out of the end zone, which is a really, really difficult thing to do. But Hebron's got this guy, Isaiah Broadway. We brought him up a couple of weeks ago. He's a freshman. He's a monster. He was injured a little bit in the season. He's back now, and he was the reason why they were able to do some things offensively. When you shut down Trajan Bridges, which is a feat in itself, and then they answer you with a young guy in Broadway, that's a good win for Hebron because that's an Irvin MacArthur defense that is really, really tough.
Yeah, Irvin MacArthur's going to have to bring more to the table than just their defense. And like I said at the beginning, guys, of the telecast about Irvin MacArthur, I think they were surprised that they scored 14 points against Hebron.
Yes.
And as you can tell, they shut it down in the second half and tried to put the onus on the defense to win the game for them. But Hebron just too much.
Yeah, and the MacArthur defense is good enough to win them games, but when they go up against the really, really good teams, they usually end up losing. The teams they beat had a combined record of 6-23 coming into this week. So they haven't been able to put together offensively enough to beat the good teams. Mm-hmm. They just beat up on the lowly teams.
Well, they're just not a playoff team, Irving Mack. And a win today would have been an upset and it would have put them in the conversation. But for Hebron, they did what they had to do. It was not an impressive performance for them at all, but they held on to get the victory.
Yeah, and you get a W like that in district play. Any district game is a good win, because you get another one on top of that.
A win's a win, right?
A win's a win. How about Grapevine and Colleyville Heritage? This is a game we teased at the start of overtime. How about the battle for the Red Rail crosstown rivalry? Of course, the Red Rail separating Grapevine and Colleyville, but Colleyville Heritage fell in this game really from the get-go as Grapevine took it over, I should say, really early in this football game, 59-20, as Grapevine ends up on top. And we've got Guy Frazier on the phone. Guy, first off, thanks for joining us again here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. We're looking at some footage of yours currently, and this was just another dominating performance from Grapevine. Colleyville Heritage just really didn't have it tonight.
Yeah, man, that was a lot of fun. That's a fun rivalry game. But Grapevine, if you look at the statistics side of things in the football game, it doesn't look like Grapevine really dominated Colleyville all that much, but they really did tonight. They offensively beat up on Colleyville. And another thing that kind of stood out tonight was they had 21 points off of either turnovers that they were able to cause on defense or a kickoff return. And, that still would have made them have a comfortable lead. But adding that 21 points onto their side of the scoreboard really helped their cause tonight.
Hey, Guy, what's going on, man? This is Hek'ma. Now, you got to tell me about the temperament of both teams going through this game. Was there any almost ejections today?
We actually did have an ejection on a targeting call. It was in play. Colleyville kids going over the middle on a crossing route and just got sandwiched by two Grapevine kids. One of the kids led with his helmet a little bit. Next thing you know, he's off to the locker room and no pads on after that. So we did have one ejection.
Guy, Zach with you. I got to ask, because it was rumored to be true, were there streakers tonight from both teams? And secondly, tell me what your thoughts on that Grapevine offense, because it seems like they are just a well-oiled machine, man, with Cade Rhodes leading the ship.
Okay, well, on the first part, no streakers tonight.
That's an upset.
I was on the lookout for it. It never happened.
Darn it.
Festive environment nonetheless, though. But, yeah, that offense for Grapevine is a well-oiled machine. They kind of lull you to sleep. A lot of short game. They run a lot of screens, a lot of short routes, which is basically just like a run play for them. A little bit of mid-range stuff, and then they'll hit you down the field like a smash route or a go route and capitalize on that. So, they're methodical. They work their way down the field, and they'll hit you with a big play every so often as well.
Guy, we saw that Cam Brown got injured in this game for Colleyville Heritage. How much of an effect did that have on the Heritage offense once really their best player went down?
Well, he actually never played to start the game. Somehow I missed that pregame, but we're sitting there in the first quarter. I'm like, there's no Cam Brown. I I heard he was in a boot on the Colleyville sideline, so he actually never touched the field tonight. But
wow,
I got to think that had some sort of an effect on them. It's interesting. I expected them to have a little bit more play in the air tonight, but a lot of their damage that they were able to do was from the ground. So, I'm not sure if that was because Cam was hurt or if that was their game plan from the get-go.
Another big win for Grapevine as they move on with a win over Colleyville Heritage, 59-20, the final score. Guy Frazier on the phone with us from Colleyville, or I guess Southlake and Dragon Stadium. Guy, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, appreciate it, fellas. I'll see y'all.
Guy had a couple good games this week with Grapevine and Colleyville Heritage. He was also at Geyer and Eaton last night. Couple good games, couple good matchups.
Working hard,
Good football.
And that Grapevine and Ryan game starts to look really
Huge
exciting.
game. Can't
next
wait
week.
for that one,
Huge
man.
game with the offense at Grapevine, and obviously we know the Denton Ryan defense. That's building up to be quite the showdown.
That'll be the test we've been waiting for that Ryan offense, man, because, they've been in a lot of games where that special teams and that defense is taking control, but they haven't had to rely on that offense. They might next week.
Well, a big difference in that game is going to be Drew Sanders. Drew Sanders is very familiar with the Grapevine offense.
True. So with that being said, we're going to move on to Zach Wolchuk's alma mater. Plano and the Wildcats.
Oh, there's got to be such a deep pause every time we do
I don't know.
We need violin music right here.
Just something. 42-27, Plano over Jesuit. It almost certainly sinks the Rangers in terms of their playoff hopes, and it all was at the hands of Kyron Cumby. 135 yards on 16 carries, 3 touchdowns on the ground with 5 passes caught and 103 total yards in a dominant win. We've got Derek Finch on the phone. Derek was live from John Clark Stadium. And Derek, first off, thanks for joining us. Second off, Kyron Cumby was unbelievable tonight, not just on the ground, but in the passing game as well. Cumby really was all over the place.
Yeah, I was surprised. I saw him in pregame, and I thought, he's kind of a little dude. I don't know what he's going to be doing out here. And the game started, and, little dudes sometimes are pretty fast, and he's definitely one of those. He had a special night tonight, not just running the ball, but also, you mentioned it, receiving. He was one of only 2 Plano players to catch a pass, and really the other pass, I think, was only 1 for 6 yards. So he was dominant in every offensive aspect.
Derek, all right, so for Plano, we know they're a run-heavy team. The question has been through the air. What did you see from that Plano passing attack? And on the flip side, E.J. Smith got his on the ground with 184 yards and 3 touchdowns. But without Kevin Schumann, how did that Jesuit passing attack look against the Plano D?
Oh, man. It's funny you asked me about the Jesuit passing attack. The best pass play of the game was a trick play by E.J. Smith. Threw it deep down the right side and had a completion. Yeah, it was a rough one for the quarterback. Threw a pick, had a fumble. I hate to dog on a kid, but I wasn't really impressed with quarterback play at all. For Plano, I wasn't impressed with their quarterback play either, but I really didn't need to be. Their whole offense was just built around Cumby, and he seemed to always be open. So I guess in that aspect, yeah, Plano passing attack was outstanding.
Yeah, another big win for Plano, and it's huge in their playoff implications. Derek, thanks so much for joining us. 42-27, the final score. Drive safe on your way home. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, Plano.
Hey, that's the way you hang up the phone.
Showing you some love.
Hey, well, we'll accept some of that. We love Jesuit, though. It's such a disappointing season. That probably knocks him out of the hunt. Plano now gets Boyd next week for another big district matchup. Every game's a playoff game now for Plano.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And you look at, we talked about this earlier, but we're going to talk about it again. E.J. Smith, Kevin Schumann, 2 guys going into that Jesuit offense that you circled on the start of the season on the roster and said these guys are going to be difference makers, not only just in the city or in the North Texas area, but in the entire state. And they've just not necessarily, as a team, lived up to the expectations. Smith and Schumann have played well, and there's a
Schumann
reason.
hurt. Schumann not playing.
Schumann not playing tonight, but with that being said, it just seems like those two guys have not had the support around them that is necessary for a playoff team to have.
Not at all, and I think a lot of that has to do with defense. You know, they struggled on defense. They haven't been able to stop anybody. They've had to be in shootouts, and Jesuit just hasn't been able to make the plays in crunch time to get them victory.
And Jesuit's gotten off to a lot of slow starts this year. They've been in a lot of games where they have to storm back in the second half, and it's usually just not quite enough to get the victory.
How about just overestimating what they're going to do? I mean, if this you ranked them wrong. You know, they're not the team that
you're right.
thought.
No, you're right. Jesuit wasn't the team we thought they were, and Plano's turned their season around. We thought they were dead and buried 2 weeks ago, excuse me.
Right.
And now all of a sudden a huge win over East and a blowout win at home over Jesuit, and they're sitting there looking like, hey, they could be a playoff team.
Yeah, that's tough. And Plano really needing to finish the season strong, because that loss to McKinney now looks even bigger because McKinney's playing well. They did lose in a tight double overtime game tonight, 42 points plus for both teams in that game against Plano East, but Plano needs to win out, like you said. It's a playoff game for Plano and the Wildcats to move on. How about Lake Dallas and Lovejoy, District 7 5A Division 2? Lovejoy coming in at 5-1. They had a big-time loss last week. 51-0 was the final score as they were beaten by Frisco Reedy. Frisco Reedy, by the way, rolls again tonight at the Ford Center, but Lovejoy got on the board early, put up 31 points in the first quarter, and other than that, Lake Dallas furiously came back but were unable to catch the Leopards. 31-27 the final score.
Yeah, Ja Rainey, as you see right there, going for an 8-yard score. It came down to the fact that Lake Dallas needed to play desperate tonight in order to get a victory. Just didn't happen. The only weapon that they had all night long was going to be Ryan Deppersmith, and he just ran out of gas at the end of the game. You gotta credit what Lovejoy is doing. Like you said, the one loss that they have being to Frisco Reedy, which I think everybody is saying that Reedy is the real deal.
Yeah.
But again, Lovejoy is definitely that team to be reckoned with. And Lake Dallas, this is a pretty tough loss for them. I think this puts them at 4th place in their district now.
I think it puts them at 5th place overall.
It's a crusher, man. It really and you talked about, hey, their defense hasn't been that good. Depperschmidt's felt like he had to be the guy. He's turned the ball over a little bit this year, but they had a chance to win it. You got to give Lovejoy's defense some credit. They were shut out They were shut out in the second half offensively. Their defense gets absolutely blown up. Lake Dallas is trying to come back and win it. They get all the way to the 18-yard line, and a big Lovejoy sack sealed the victory for them tonight. So that defense, bend but don't break. They made the play when they had to do it, and a huge win for Lovejoy.
Even despite giving up 498 total yards from Lake Dallas, the majority of that coming in the second half, whereas Lovejoy, the majority of their offense was in the first half. So it'll be interesting to see how Lovejoy will respond after not necessarily playing extremely well in that second half. And going in next week maybe has a little bit of doubt maybe from their offense heading into that game. Luckily, they do have Denison, who has not been one of the greatest teams in that district, coming up next weekend before they take on Frisco, who right now is in playoff position there. But before we move on to some of our other games, we're going to take a quick break here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars Overtime. We've got a lot to get to, and we are rolling through Week 9 of Texas high school football live from the Star in Frisco, Texas. We'll be back in just about 3 minutes or so.
Hey football fans, check this out. It's called FanTag, the easiest way to get video highlights from all of your games. As a parent, I know the value of capturing our kids' special moments on video. FanTag makes it easy to relive a memory or share it with family, friends, and recruiters. Download the FanTag app, and on game day, find your event and get instant highlights delivered right to your phone. So never miss a moment. Try FanTag today. It's free.
Little ideas can turn into big dreams. Big dreams require careful planning and the right partner. A partner dedicated to helping you take care of your employees, protect your business, and plan for the future. It's sometimes overwhelming. It's often exciting. It's your story, and we can help. SWBC.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the sweet and spicy bacon burger.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is my all-time favorite.
I love this burger. It's just perfect.
2 beef patties, 2 different types of cheese, caramelized onions. My favorite thing about this burger is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce and the bacon. You get it in every bite.
Nothing beats this.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is an all-time favorite at Whataburger.
That's happiness.
Week 9 of Texas high school football. We come to you live from inside the Star in Frisco. Beautiful headquarters to the Dallas Cowboys. That's just outside their locker room, their weight facilities and everything, just down the hallway from us as we are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios. Whataburger Friday Night Stars presented by Game On Sports. We're glad you're with us here for Week 9 of Texas high school football. And we've got one more segment to get you going here for Friday Night Stars Overtime. And let's start things off with the number 1 team in the entire state. McKinney Boyd on the road against that number 1 team. McKinney Boyd's not the number 1 team.
I got confused.
Wait a minute. Let me just get that straight. Allen and the Eagles, impressive in their win again against McKinney Boyd. 66 points put up on the board by Allen and the Eagles. Just another unbelievable game from Coach Gamble and the boys from up north.
Isn't that shocking? I can't believe Allen won a game.
Wow.
I really thought McKinney Boyd was going to come.
Oh,
No.
darn.
They did what they're supposed. Look, they came in averaging 35-point victories within this district. They just grew that average by a 66-point win. They improved to 8-0, unbeaten in 9-6A. McKinney Boyd drops to 2-3. Their playoff hopes, if they drop a game next week against Plano, I think they're pretty much done. That's an elimination game coming up next week. But Allen did what Allen does. Grant Tisdale, 4 touchdowns on the ground. Keldon Manning had 1. Theo Weiss had 2 touchdown receptions. Allen's the best team in the state for a reason. They took care of business today.
Yeah, they definitely did. Put up big-time numbers. Not a surprise. 512 yards of total offense. And, man, Allen just looks like they're unbeatable, and for good reason, because they have not been beaten yet.
I'm sure the starters only had to play the first half,
Maybe a quarter.
How
who
nice
knows?
is that? You show up to work, I'm going to get paid for the full day, but I only got to go a half day.
Look, guys, the toughest opponents they play are the guys they face in practice until they get into the playoffs. That's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
And when they meet up with, what's that team they're definitely meeting up with?
Look out for the Duncanville Panthers, baby.
I'm telling you, hey, I coined them last week and nobody picked up on it. The Duffel Bag Boys.
The Duffel Bag.
I'm calling them that because they're big and they're moving.
I like that.
I'm telling you, this is going to be a matchup that we see is going to happen at AT&T Stadium. It can't happen anywhere else because it's going to be jam-packed in that place. And, man, this is the only matchup that's going to matter.
I hope it happens.
Yeah.
Crossing our fingers that
If
that
the
matchup
football
happens.
gods are out there.
Oh, and they're out there.
That matchup will happen.
It will.
Guys, we've got a matchup kind of that same type of, at least, feel at the TAPS level today. Parish Episcopal and Prestonwood Christian Academy, PCA, and Parish, 2 of the top teams in the entire state in the TAPS levels. And Prestonwood, really, they trailed this game early. 24-23 was the score originally, but they put on the money later in that game, and Prestonwood pulls away for a 42-24 win.
Yeah, despite an unprecedented amount of penalties, 15 penalties for 143 yards there for PCA. I mean, this was a game billed of the quarterbacks. You got the sophomore sensation, Preston Stone, for Parish, coming in 24 touchdowns to 4 INTs on the year. Dylan Cadwalder, the Wakeland transfer for PCA, over 2,000 yards passing, and each of them did their thing today, but it was Cadwalder who did the most damage, 4 touchdown passes, just under 400 yards, and for PCA, this was a game of runs. They got up 9-0, then Parish came back, would take the lead, and PCA scored the final 4 times, got 2 touchdowns late in the third, a couple of field goals to tack on in the fourth quarter. So for PCA, the reigning TAP state champions, they showed why they're the reigning state champions, going on the road and knocking off an upstart Parish Episcopal team.
PCA is just a tough team this year.
They just play great football.
Definitely, man. Riley Wilson had a gang of big plays, and, man, he was the difference in this one.
Yeah, he definitely was. And we've got Jackson Donovan, who was on the call for this game. Prestonwood and Parish Episcopal. He's on the phone with us right now. And, Jackson, first off, how impressive were these two quarterbacks today? Because – man, Preston Stone, along with really the entirety of that Prestonwood offense, I don't even want to kind of set one guy apart because that entire offense was incredible, but how fun was that to watch?
It was absolutely incredible. There were 4 lead changes in the first half alone and then another 3 in the third quarter. It was one of the best football games you could see if you just wanted to sit down and enjoy good Texas high school football.
Jackson, were there any hook and ladders or anything that went on in this game that we should know about?
Not this week, but there were 2 diving catches in the first half and a couple of the you got moss plays that could have ended up on NFL Live. It was very impressive what the receiving core of both teams was able to do.
What was Prestonwood able to do really in the second half to slow down and really dominate the third and fourth quarter?
It came down to the fact that Prestonwood was really, of the 2 teams, the only one to get a running game going. Tim Taylor was absolutely impressive. He is a very elusive back. He's not very big, kind of a Darren Sproles-esque type of player, but 103 yards and a touchdown. He was very impressive in this game, making a lot of defenders look silly.
Now, I'll tell you what, this is Hek'ma here. I'm my guy, Preston Stone at Parish Episcopal. I have been dying to get someone to tell me about this kid that's seen him firsthand. What did you think about this kid? What did you think about the arm?
I think if you want to find someone to talk about him, tonight was not the night to give their impression. He was a little bit out of it. I don't know. With senior night, all 3 of his top wide receivers, including his brother Parker and the Overton brothers, are seniors, and so they were honored before the game. And I don't know if the pressure got to him. I really hope it didn't. But tonight he had an opportunity to show off his guns, but he was overthrowing, dropping balls short. He has the talent. He showed poise tonight that you just don't see in a young sophomore quarterback. But he made some plays that really, I don't know if he just overthought it, but he could have just slowed himself down. There were 3 times in this game they had to call a timeout just because he wasn't able to get the guys to the line quick enough.
Yeah, definitely so. Jackson Donovan on the call for Prestonwood and Parish Episcopal. He's on the phone with us here for Whataburger Friday Night Stars. Jackson, thanks so much, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
No problem. See y'all later.
There he goes, Jackson Donovan. He was at that hook and ladder play last week with the Colony. He gets another good one this week, but he was doing play-by-play this week.
Good for him.
Wasn't actually filming for him this week. But, guys, we've got some prediction games to get to.
Let's
very
get to 'em.
quickly. How about Highland Park and Sunset before we get to those prediction games? Just real quickly.
You
the
can
Scotties.
just mention what the Scotties
Oh,
did.
man.
You gonna tell us that wasn't a prediction game?
No, it wasn't. But I want to hit it really
free
quickly.
win if you want.
Yeah, Highland Park, they just dismantled Sunset overall. Not really a surprise as the Scotties put it on Sunset. What is Sunset's mascot, by the way?
I don't. It looks like a buffalo.
Are they the Buffaloes?
If Rockwall is deciding, it's probably the moon.
Oh, okay. Well, 72 to
Oh,
nothing.
my gosh, that's great.
That's the final score. And
what?
That's the last time we're going to talk about that game tonight.
Now you got to find something disappointing in it. There's something
Oh
happening
my
that
gosh,
you
they
don't
only
like.
scored
I
72
don't think
points.
so.
Chandler Morris only had 4 touchdowns. Finn Corman only had 2 receiving. Benner Page only had 2 rushing touchdowns. Here's what we can talk about. Highland Park, Lancaster. Next week, they'll finally get a district test. Let's move on.
That's going to be a lot of fun to look at next week. But you talked about the 4 touchdowns for Chandler Morris. That came in the first quarter.
Oh, my goodness.
He didn't play after the first quarter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's another good night at work.
Yeah,
Oh.
man, you get paid the full paycheck.
Exactly.
Jeez.
How about Mansfield, Lake Ridge? Mansfield and the Tigers led this game early. But how about Mansfield, Lake Ridge winning this football game 37-30 and taking really a dagger to the Tigers' playoff hopes?
Without Chandler Rogers to be able to come back against, basically it's a rivalry game. And you do it with your backup quarterback down in the second half. Lake Ridge has had quite the season, and it just stays. I mean, it's a miracle season that just keeps getting even better.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, for Mansfield, we knew, hey, this is a team that plays with a lot of grit. They've played up in these rivalry games before. I thought it would be competitive, but Lake Ridge is the better team. Without Chandler Rogers, you knew it would be tough because that's really their identity, but they found a way to get it done. Big win for Lake Ridge, even though they did get a scare.
Yeah, had the backup quarterback step up in this win.
Hek'ma, you look a little perplexed.
I'm not perplexed.
You're just like, thank goodness Lake Ridge won. It's just a sigh of
That's
relief.
exactly what I'm saying.
Well, all of us picked Lake Ridge in our prediction.
I
game,
understand.
So it doesn't
I almost
matter.
went Mansfield on that one. So
Okay.
Oh, you did almost go Mansfield.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, so that's why you've been thinking the whole time, man, if Mansfield won. Okay, I got you.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, how about Mansfield Summit and DeSoto? I decided to go out on a limb. I was by myself off to the side picking
How is that limb?
Mansfield
How's that
Summit.
limb?
You're still by yourself.
Well, it was 14-14, and that limb has since snapped because DeSoto wins it 40-21, 518 yards total. Even despite 9 penalties and 82 yards for DeSoto, they're able to kind of reel things in that second half and come away with a big win.
518 yards on offense for the Eagles. Look, they lost the game earlier in the season, and I think they've been a little PO'd about it for this whole time. So they're playing with a little bit of vengeance on their mind, and they know that was a game that they had won, as they would be sitting undefeated right now.
Yeah, I mean, they did their thing. They are super athletic, and that was 2 teams out of that 5 log jam tie for first place in 7-5A. So now DeSoto able to create a little bit of breathing room as they're able to get a victory there.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Well, let's go from 7-6A to 6-5A, but staying in Mansfield. Zach, you went out on a limb, and you were the only one to pick Timberview.
I was very wrong.
Oh, you were very wrong.
Timberview really did not play well for me tonight at all. I was high on that offense. I knew it was going to be tough for them to go on the road and beat a Lancaster team, but these were 2 teams on paper that were very evenly matched. Timberview, the 13th ranked team in the area. Lancaster, the 9th ranked team in the area. I know Lancaster has a really athletic and good defense. I just thought maybe Timberview would score some points. They didn't.
Guys, do you hear anything but excuses coming from that side of the table?
I was very wrong.
Thank you. Give me some.
Okay, there we go. All right, Hek'ma's on my side.
I'm just glad you said it, and I have to seem like the bad guy. I'm already getting bully complaints from the listeners, so
man.
I'm going to leave
You're
it alone.
getting bully complaints.
You're
That's
bullying Woolchuck.
Well, how about Lancaster?
It is true.
And Zach, I will give you props. Zach, I will give you props because you talked about the matchup next week between Lancaster and Highland Park.
Yeah.
That's going to decide that district.
And I'm more excited about that now, and absolutely it's going to decide that district now. No question.
And with this win, it gets everybody kind of a little bit more weary of what Lancaster can do. In Highland Park, like you said, it's not been challenged in this district yet.
I have been beaten into oblivion when it comes down to Highland Park, and this won't be a game. Chandler Rogers is, come on.
You know what? You're
not
right.
My guy from Highland Park.
It's probably not going to be a
Chandler
game.
Morris.
Chandler Morris.
Chandler Rogers.
But it's also at Highlander, and Highland Park doesn't lose at Highlander. If this game were in Lancaster, they'd have a shot.
Every time I see a Highland Park highlight, there's a wide receiver running by himself. So that's just the way it goes, and I expect the same thing next week.
Well, we got two matchups next week where the offense is with the Grapevine and Denton Ryan, offense versus defense, and then next week Highland Park and Lancaster. One great offense versus another great defense, man. That's going to be a really fun game.
Yeah, it is going to be a fun game to look out for, and we'll have a reporter at that one as well. We'll have extensive coverage next week here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. How about Wilmer Hutchins and Carter? This is a game earlier that Carter was just trying to hang around in a 6-1. Wilmer Hutchinson's team instead pulls a rabbit out of the hat, and by a rabbit, I mean their 7th win of the year.
And by a hat, you mean a head.
Exactly. 89 yards total for Wilmer Hutchins. You got 38 points on the board. Carter hung around as long as they could, but Wilmer Hutchins, again, one of the best stories in the entire North Texas area from a team perspective, and they get it done again.
Yeah, and look, for Wilmer Hutchins, this was a game where I think a lot of people thought maybe they'd stub their toe in this one. Carter's been playing really, really well, but they went on the road, and I know both teams do play at that same stadium, but still, it's a home game for Carter, and they took care of business, man. I mean, this is a Wilmer Hutchins team, another one of those in 4A, just everything's aligned. They've got a really good senior class right now, and they got a huge win against Carter in district there.
Yeah, Wilmer Hutchins just took care of big business. Douglas Jr. took care of business.
He's the man.
Kedrick Chancellor, their running back, had 111 yards. Ball control was a big deal tonight for Wilmer Hutchins. Kind of slowed down that Carter Cowboy passing offense because they were taking it to Wilmer Hutchins in a lot of ways in that first half. They just didn't have any answers for the passing game.
They didn't, but they did shut down that Carter run, and I think that was a big reason for their success there late.
Yeah, definitely so. And we'll look at that game or look at that Wilmer Hutchins team later in the season because as of right now, they sit up at the top of that district. And if they can continue some of that success, like you said, Zach, could be one of the more enjoyable teams to watch. A couple quick scores to get with really fast. How about Mesquite Horn?
Tell me something good.
They get their first win of the year.
They did.
Way to go.
24-6. Horns in the playoff discussion, baby.
I've been wrong for 7 weeks about Horn.
Yeah. You've been picking them every single week. And finally, this is the week Hek'ma puts in the Mesquite Horn pick, and it worked. I'm so glad I put it on the prediction segments. I did it for you, brother. You want to come and bully me? I still love you.
And now we got a Mesquite Horn team that starts out 0-7, still in the playoff hunt. And you have a Naaman Forest team that was started out 0-5 and they're in the playoff
that
hunt.
Stunk for 7 weeks, and now they got a chance to come on and claw on back into the playoffs.
Yeah, I lost 70% of my games this year, but I went to the playoffs.
But I won 3 district games.
I
won 3 district games, and that's all that matters.
How about them apples?
How bad is
That's exactly what Horn's looking at. And yeah, Heath did not look good. But how about this matchup? We talked about this earlier, and it was also our final prediction game. Midlothian Heritage and Crandall. Who was the one that went for Crandall because of the defense?
Not me. I think Hek'ma?
I think it was Hek'ma.
No comment.
55-17, Midlothian Heritage wins over Crandall.
My guys.
Wow. Big time win. They had 21 points in the third, 13 in the second, 14 in the first. They didn't waste any time getting off to a quick start. And Crandall, with only their second loss of the season, Midlothian Heritage flexing the muscles a little bit and getting a big-time win in district play. Guys, let's go back up just real quick to Cedar Hill and South Grand Prairie. This was a game earlier in District 7, 6A that we looked at as Cedar Hill looking to kind of get off of a rough patch. They had that loss a couple weeks ago against Mansfield Summit, and then they were able to come back big last week against Mansfield Lake Ridge. They do get another win today. 22-7, the final score, Cedar Hill over the South Grand Prairie Warriors. And we've got Adrian Jagish with the head coach for Cedar Hill, and we'll have Adrian take it away.
Hi, guys. I'm here with Carlos Lynn, the head coach of the Cedar Hill Longhorns. Sir, well, how was this win for you tonight?
It was huge. You know, it's a district ball game. It's one step closer to punching our ticket to the playoffs, and that was our goal. Just win the ball game, ugly, pretty. It didn't matter. Just go win.
So the Warriors, they fought a good fight. Was this a hard game for you guys to win?
Absolutely. You know, they were 3-1. They had just as much to fight for as we did. So they put forth a great effort, and we was able to turn the tides in the second half. And sometimes that's what you have to do to win.
So this season, you guys are a powerhouse team. You guys have only lost one game. What do you tell your boys before every game?
You know, we just take care of this one at a time. Don't worry about what's in the future. Don't worry about what's coming in the future. Take care of now, and hopefully we'll be in good shape.
And last question, do you have any hopes for the rest of the season?
Yeah, you know, hey, we just want to take it 1 week at a time, and hopefully look up. We're playing December 22nd in AT&T.
Awesome, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You know, who were you with again?
That's exactly where Cedar Hill wants to be, is in AT&T Stadium playing for it all. And
he knows the date.
Oh, he knows the date. He's
Cedar
got it
Hill's
circled
one of those
there.
teams that
1 week
know.
at a time, but I know when the
But I know that 22nd of December, we're going to be there.
Christmas come early, hopefully.
Yeah, those Longhorns, man, they're that loss to Summit. I mean, it continues to just be, and I talked about it earlier in the show, Eric, just an asterisk loss when you look at that ugly game. 10 to 12 fumbles, depending on who you ask. There might have been 20.
Torrential downpour.
I mean, it just was a fluky kind of weird game. This Cedar Hill team is the real deal, without a doubt, one of the best in 6A.
Yeah, just outstanding from Cedar Hill and what they're able to do overall. But With that being said, Carlos Lynn, what a coaching job he's been able to do of being able to kind of turn things around after that loss to Summit and put up 2 impressive wins back-to-back. I mean, Lake Ridge and South Grand Prairie, those were 2 district tests that even heading into that district schedule, Cedar Hill knew was on the horizon, and he blew past both of those teams.
And I love that you say that because this is a Cedar Hill team that underachieved last year.
Yes.
They shockingly had a very poor season, and then to rally the troops back with Shane Lawrence at quarterback, and like you said, only that one loss to just shake that off, come on back, 2 big district wins in that 7-6A District of Doom, man. It's huge. And coming up next week for Cedar Hill, they've got Mansfield, and that's a game they should win on paper, but we know, hey, the Tigers, despite the fact that they're out of it, they're playing tough football.
Look, Cedar Hill is a team that if you shake the roster, athlete will fall out, okay? They are not at a shortage. What they needed was a coach to lead them to where they're trying to go right now, and that's to the state championship. But make no mistake about it, in that district, another district of doom, that last game, you better circle it.
Ooh, at DeSoto.
DeSoto, November the 8th. You talking about athletes galore on that field, but it's going to be a tough matchup. Anyone that's going to take that district has to win that game, and I think Cedar Hill, just like everyone else, has that circled on the calendar.
Oh, I'm sure they do. I know they want a chance, Longhorns over the Eagles, to try and get that district title back into their hands. And like you said, after just kind of a disappointing season last year, in his second year, Coach Lynn has kind of figured some things out in that Longhorn
that defense
team.
Is unbelievable.
And that defense
and they played
is good.
great tonight. And we know SGP struggles on offense, but Cedar Hill's defense was locked down. Big shutout in that second half.
Yeah, definitely. So, guys, let's go through some of the 6A scores. Just run down the list really quickly. Some of the games that we haven't talked about as much throughout overtime here on Whataburger Friday Night Stars. We've got a lot of Friday finals flowing in.
We do. And Coppell, they didn't need it from Caden Davis. His time expired tonight. Their team got a big win, 48-13.
Way to go.
At
Finally.
Irving. Now, Caden Davis might have had some action in there, but it didn't have to be a as time expired kind of field goal there for him. Rowlett, they bounced back from that upset loss to Wiley last week. They get a big 55-22 victory at home over Garland. As we move along here, we talked a little bit earlier before overtime started, but Keller, they narrowly hold off TC Byron Nelson 36-34. Keller got that big victory. So Byron Nelson came back at the end there, made it 36-34. Onside kick attempt fails. Keller gets a district win, and Keller moves on. Look, they've only lost to Guyer and South Lake Carroll. They're definitely the third best team in that district. Plano East, we opened overtime with it. Double overtime in this one. They beat on the road McKinney 45-42, a game that a lot of people probably didn't think was so close, but for Plano East, a huge win. Also in 9-6A, Prosper beats Plano West 55-7. Big win for Prosper. Plano West has struggled this year. San Angelo Central 10-2 over Hearst LD Bell. North Garland beats South Garland 37-7.
Nice.
Arlington Bowie knocks off Fort Worth Pascal 40-3. Arlington Lamar keeps their great season going 55-7. They've got a big game looming against Arlington. Grand Prairie knocks off Waxahachie. The struggles continue for the Indians.
Wow.
20-6 Grand Prairie win there. Holtham's undefeated season, that continues, a 52-13 win.
Mike Black.
Yep, Michael Black, Hek'ma's guy, 52-13 over Richland. Holtham gets the victory. J.J. Pierce, they drop. It looks like they're in the fourth quarter. This game's taken a while. Lake Highlands is up 42-34 on J.J. Pierce. The Mustangs are driving. They've got a chance to tie that one up, so we'll have to monitor that. That might carry over to later. We'll post our final scoreboards. You can find that on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, all the Friday Night Stars platforms. North Crowley goes on the road to Arlington. We talked about Bowie winning and Lamar winning. Arlington wins 52-19 over North Crowley.
And I've got a tidbit on that game. 15 completions for Jahari Rogers, the quarterback for Arlington.
Wow.
359 yards off of those 15 completions.
What did he have, 10 touchdowns too?
4 touchdowns.
He's just a Madden game, man. Jahari
really
Rogers is outstanding, and that game, Arlington and Lamar, is going to be a fun one. Those teams are legit.
Their senior receiver, Trey Cleveland, had 5 receptions for 197 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's almost 40 yards per catch.
Eric's a big fan of Trey Cleveland.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Why wouldn't you be?
Longview continues to roll in that district, coming over with that realignment, that same district with the Rockwall. They win 63-3. That's a top-heavy district, though. Really, Longview and Rockwall are all that's there. Richardson over Richardson-Berkner, 34-20. Skyline rolls Malina 62-0 on that one. And then Duncanville flexing their muscle, man. They saw what Allen did. Well, we'll get in the ballpark. 63-0. They blow out WTY. That defense has still only allowed 26 points the entire season. That's unbelievable.
Legendary.
And then Rockwall, also a blowout victory. Longview and Rockwall flexing their muscles 66-0. Rockwall all over Tyler Lee. And those are your 6A finals tonight.
Let's go from 6A straight into 5A. Eric, give us a rundown of what's going on at that 5A level.
All right, Birdville continues their awesome season. They beat Carrollton Newman Smith 49-21. Stone Earl, man, 4 touchdowns, 363 passing yards. What a night for Birdville. Carrollton Creekview 30-13 over Denton. Frisco Heritage beat Frisco Liberty 48-31. We know Frisco Reedy put it on Lebanon Trail right here at the Ford Center, 63-10. And then let's see here, Mesquite Poteet 41-19 over West Mesquite. My boy Dylan Wright only had 5 receptions, 45 yards. Mesquite Poteet gets the victory. Denton Braswell 45-10 over Princeton.
Wow.
Yeah,
big time win for Braswell.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Mansfield Legacy beats Bryan Adams 56-12. Credit to Legacy, man. The injuries they've had this season, it's been a tough one for them, but we've seen it. They've been fighting. They've been in just about every single game.
Yeah.
And they go ahead and get the victory tonight.
They're still in the playoff hunt, man. Legacy's not out of it.
Yeah, no question. Just really, really impressed with that team and what they've done this year. Midlothian 34-23 over Burleson. And we talked about the Highland Park 72 smashing over Sunset. And then Red Oak 63-6 over Conrad. And Royce City 27-21 over Kaufman. North Forney 17-6 over Terrell. And Spruce 48-15 over Thomas Jefferson. And then lastly, Aledo 66-0. Sorry, Waco University and Kyle Young.
Don't leave Aledo out of it. They got to put their name in.
You never can. You can't count them out.
Goodness gracious, 66-0.
Yeah.
That's a university team that didn't win a game in what? It was like 20
forever. And then there's Aledo, who's
games.
just the best team in
that's
Texas
tough.
at that level.
Aledo, outstanding. And finally, Hek'ma round us out with some of the 4A and underscores.
Hey, I tell you what, I'm going to give some private schools some love because I'm tired of the complaints about private schools not getting any.
Let's do it.
Frisco Legacy Christian versus Fort Worth Christian. Fort Worth Christian down them 41-13. And Trinity Christian, Cedar Hill versus Dallas Christian. Primetimes, baby, had a big game. Shadur Sanders with 191 yards in this game. They completely dogged these guys from Dallas Christian, 37-16. Also, Fort Worth Southwest Christian beat Carrollton Prince of Peace Christian, 35-8. Arlington Christian versus Shelton. Arlington Christian won 35-20. And also in our game that we highlighted, Prestonwood beat Parish Episcopal 42-24. Also Midland Christian versus Fort Worth Nolan. Fort Worth Nolan won that game 42-13.
Outstanding from the 4A level. And guys, as we look at some of the best highlights throughout week 9 of Texas high school football, Eric, we'll start with you. Who's your star of the night?
It's an easy one for me tonight, boys. Backup quarterback for Fossil Ridge, Mr. Austin Stolman, comes in after the half, down 16-3, leads a storming comeback. Fossil Ridge beats Keller Timber Creek 20-19 on a game-winning field goal. Austin Stolman, you are my star of the night.
I love that pick. That's great. And the reason why behind it was awesome. Look, it was billed as the battle of the quarterbacks. It's PCA, it's Parrish, and Dylan Cadwallader comes out victorious. 379 yards, 4 touchdowns on the night to lead the PCA Lions to a Big Taps victory over Parrish.
Hey, guys, my player for the night didn't even play tonight, but he is the player of the night. Keidra Cobb from the Ken Geyer. Amazing. This kid looks like a young Jerome Bettis from Notre Dame. I'm telling you, he's running over people.
I'm going to go with a Thursday pick as well. Logan Brungart is my player to watch, but also you look at the field goal. It's a little bit smaller on the screen there, but my stars of the night always are Game On Sports Productions crew. Thanks so much for watching. Everybody involved, Eric Chiafalo, Zach Wolchuk, and Hek'ma Harrison. I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from the Star in Frisco.